Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 118 of FPL BlackBox. I believe it is. My name is Az, and I am joined on this late night Friday stream by Mr. Mark Southerns. How are you, Mark?
I'm not drunk. I'm perfectly sober. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good. I'm very pleased to be here and talking FPL with fixtures the next day. It feels so good at last. It's been a long break.
And of course, Mr. Andy North. Drunk level, Andy? Getting there?
No, literally, I've drank half a fruity cider, so I'm doing all right so far.
Well, I'm on the water, so yeah, it's going to be a barrel of laughs today. I think it's going to be a bit calmer. I've had the COVID this week, haven't I? So I'm kind of much more restrained. Although you both already called me sassy.
So sassy.
Mark's been shot on by a seagull in in and around Brighton.
That's not the words he used earlier.
No, it's not.
I literally was at the end of the day and I just popped up with Mark saying, "I've just had a bird shit on me."
Yeah. You've had a good day today, haven't you, Mark? The thumbnail annoyed you, the bird.
Oh, it did. I was in Brighton and Seagull just laid an almighty one on me. I lived in Brighton for like 8 years. That never happened to me once. I go back for like one afternoon and that's what I get, you know. So hopefully Brighton aren't going to do the same to me tomorrow when I catch in the Harley.
I said it could be a sign of things to come. Yeah,
it's meant to be good luck though.
Good luck,
apparently.
innit? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
That's good. We got 618 already in the chat. Hello to everyone.
Hi.
I've seen some. That's nice. Seen some familiar names in there.
I can't see who's in the chat. Can you see who's in the chat, Andy?
No idea.
You lost your rights to the chat. You can still see the chat. You can still go on YouTube and find them,
if you're not going to give us that word.
No, you don't have the right to flash it on the.
As has taken away the ability for Andy and myself to highlight any comments in the chat, which basically gives Az total control of the comments. There we go.
Obviously,
like that. You see, so he can just put comments about.
Where if you didn't do his rules when you played football when he was little, he took his ball home and nobody could play.
Well, you flashed up comments that were being nasty to me, so why would I allow that to continue? You know,
to counterbalance the only comments you chose to put up there.
No, I'm sorry. When I'm host, it's my rules. Anyway, we've got loads to talk about. We will get on to it. Obviously, you two have already done the little behind my back stream last week, the late tackle.
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
Which was very good. I listened to that on my drive home.
Bit of late tackle, we love that. Luke popped in as well.
Yeah, the idea of this one is not a late tackle. It's kind of going back to our roots, Mark. We got all the normal stuff, all the tables and
there'll be elements of anarchy like late tackle has, I'm sure. There already is, but yes. See, look, he's doing it now.
Look at this.
Look.
As Phillips, he's even got this.
It's just members of his family posting.
It is a good one, Mark. You were excellent on FPL Juice. I have to say.
Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely excellent. Have you seen it, Andy?
No, I didn't watch it yet. I haven't watched
that's
it,
right.
But I will do.
That's it. No support from there. I watched the Scoutcast religiously.
It's because, I think me and Az have said it before. Like, Juice would be like my everyday. Like, I would watch it every week if it was on a little bit later. I just can't ever watch it, and then I forget to. Like, I honestly think if that was on at like 8 o'clock, it would have thousands of viewers every week. Like, honestly, it's so good.
The thing is, I didn't get back to about 11 o'clock, so if it was on 8 o'clock, I'd be like 2 in the morning when I got home. So I was pleased it kicked off at 6, but it was a pleasure to do it, and it was great to spend a bit of time with Nick and Ash, who are great hosts, and Ben from the Graduates was on as well, and he was great. And I had a really lovely time, and it was a good show. There was plenty of good content in it as well, a little bit of fun. And I was I was good in guest a player, terrible in tic-tac-toe.
Well, this is what I was going to say. The too long didn't read, Andy, is Mark did an excellent bit about his kind of history with Scout and about all the kind of drama over the international break with all the polls and annoying accounts and all that kind of stuff. Really, really good. Well worth listening to that. Mark's guest the player was on point, really quick. Top 20 time, was it, Mark?
I'm sixth
on
overall,
the show. Absolutely brilliant. But Andy, you've got to see him play this tic-tac-toe game. You basically had to find a player who'd played for two teams.
I've played the game.
So there was like Arsenal and Man City. I mean, there's so many, right?
Gabriel Jesus,
Nasri Adebayor, and Mark was just like, I can't think of any. And he
easy
could
now, isn't it?
not
Easy,
do a
easy
single one.
after the event, isn't it? I was spent on guest a player. I was totally spent after that. I just didn't have any brain power left. You forget I'm knocking on. The memory's not what it was. So.
It's true. It's true. Brain cells go, don't they? They die.
Yeah, look at this. Tic Tac was like watching my granddad play. Well, it's probably not far off your granddad's age, to be fair. I imagine.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad. But I love the Juice guys, and it was a very, very good show. And like you said, Mark, Ben Graduates was excellent.
Yeah, he's
as
really
well. Yeah. Shout out quickly to our new Godfather tier members. Rakesh, who's now in the WhatsApp chat. We're enjoying chatting to him. We've got Parag, we've got Chris Tanj, and we've got Tarek A. Anyone who is a Godfather tier member who hasn't got in touch yet to join the WhatsApp chat, give me an email, as@fplblackbox.com, and we'll get you right in. And Mark, we've got a backlog of intro videos to do at some point.
We have. I've got about 10 or so to do.
Yeah.
They were good fun to do last time, so yeah.
Yeah. There you go, Mark. There's a nice comment from James Harding for you. All jokes aside, Mark was a super fun, interesting guest.
Oh,
Lovely
thank
to
you,
see back on
James.
it. Very nice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Thank you.
Let's quickly go through Gameweeks. I mean, you two have already kind of covered yours, so we'll do them quickly. Also, you both did better than me, so let's just quickly cover these. Andy, one sentence, 58 points, wildcard played.
Yeah.
Okay,
sitting
good.
down and watching the whole of the Forest and Crystal Palace game to watch a 0-0 so I could get 2 clean sheets was probably the highlight of my week, to be honest, my season. So I'm happy with that. 58 points, 1 million rank rise, I'll take it.
Nice, but Mitchell over Gahey, which Mark's already ribbed you for.
Which 5 minutes before full time looked like a masterstroke when he had 3 bonus points and then just dropped out of them altogether. Mark obviously rang up FPL Towers and said, "We're not having this."
Make it so.
Yeah.
Grandfather tier, says Jamie Hayes. Very good. Mark, a couple of sentences in your team, 67 points, massive haul.
All
Mr.
about
Raheem.
Raz.
Mr. Raheem.
Did very well for me and turned a good week into a very good week. So I was happy with that. I mean, obviously the captaincy could have gone better, but it was a tight call between Salah and Son. And Son, Spurs just that first 20 minutes. If they'd have got that early goal, I think I said when we were going to go to the captaincy in the last show that the early goal was crucial, and it didn't come. And Spurs laboured a bit and finally got a goal second half, and then had that man sent off, and then they saw it out. So Son 6 points, but very happy with that. Very happy with my team still. And although the subs bench is weak, as we'll see later, I'm happy going forward that everything's going all right. It's strange.
Just sent you the chat invite.
Oh, thank you. He's given up,
a bit bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
That time, innit?
Also, I realised it's quite hard to focus on the screens and do the chat, and it's actually quite nice to have you doing it. So, very nice. As a hater, because he did bad, he wants to go through it quickly. Yeah, let's spend a little bit of time on mine. Let's go through mine just as quick as yours. 51 points. Son captain. We all went for Son. Could have been a big haul, I think, if Spurs had got a goal early, but wasn't to be. And then Salah went crazy, which, when you look at it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, Brighton didn't have a left back. That was the obvious move, but it doesn't tell the full story. I think 15 points for Salah. He was pretty anonymous in that game. I thought Darwin played well, and we just left him completely unmarked for the first goal, and then another mistake, at the back for the penalty. But 15 points, big difference between the captains. So if you went
I
for
know
Salah,
from spells that I didn't have Salah last season that he has this ability to have a pretty average game and still get a double figure haul. It's really annoying. Yeah. And that was the case.
But yeah, green arrow for me. I'm just behind Andy, I think, 5 or 6 points, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, separating us. Nice for us all to come on with green arrows. Let's look at the great and the good, where that puts us. Mark, top of the pile out of everyone. Look at that still. Joe had a good week though, 73 points from him. General did not have a good week, and he was the one, kind of your biggest rival. He got a red arrow, 45 points with a hit. 2. Went for Haaland captain, which I thought was a bit strange. He had just said that Haaland was going to be his captain every week. What did you think of that? It seems a bit of a cop out, I thought.
No, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, he is, if you're going to pick one player to be your captain every week, I guess it used to be Haaland. Whether it is still Haaland, given Salah's consistency, I don't know anymore. I noticed today when I checked review that Salah's now coming out above Haaland for the captaincy this week. So the models are beginning to start to suggest that Salah is the better captaincy. And I don't think our mentality has switched totally yet, but we're going to talk about it tonight because obviously a lot of the wild cards have moved away from Haaland. And I think the models have got a lot to do with that. If you check them, review is certainly saying that if you're playing a wild card, you don't have Haaland. And I think a lot of people who follow review have taken that stance. Now, whether it will come off, I don't know. Certainly this week, as you saw there, Gameweek 8, it wasn't the best move to captain Haaland. But, we went Son and hardly got much of an advantage, did we? So let's see. I mean, I don't know whether General's going to stick to that policy going forward. I'll have to see. He's got his wild card to play. Let's see what he does. But presumably he's not going to wild card and not have Haaland.
Andy, mid-table in your debut season in the Great and the Good? Happy with the start?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, in some ways I was looking at this a couple of weeks ago and thinking I'm lucky to be mid-table because I've had quite a tough start, if that makes sense. But then everybody seems to have quite a tough start. You think, Great and the Good, and only half of them are in the top mill. So I think it's been a tough start for everybody. I'll take it. I'm happy with the fact I've obviously used my wild card. I've got a green arrow, which you'd hope for, rolling, and then game week 10 looks fine as well. So I feel like I'm okay moving forward. But yeah, no, it's been a tough start for everybody, I think. But I'd take mid-table. I mean, you just don't want to be bottom 3, do you? That's the main thing.
Well, at least I'm not bottom where I was a few weeks ago. I have overtaken Tom Freeman and FPL Guns, last year's winner. How often do we see that? Last year's winner struggling.
And he's doing some things like captaining Darwin, you see.
Yeah.
So whether he's just having some fun with it, I don't know.
I think I would.
I bet you're entitled to, aren't you, when you've won it? You're going to try some things out. A lot of wild cards plays, as you can see in the table. So there's 6 of us haven't played the wild card at the moment. Maybe 7.
What's your plan for it, Mark? Maybe 10?
Well, I guess, I guess we would. No. I go straight to the City blank, City double, don't I? And navigate through that with it, I presume. I don't think I'm going to need to play it. If I played it now or game week 10...
No Watkins, no Arsenal, no Brighton?
No. I can do it with 3 transfers as I want to, but we'll talk about that later. I don't know if I'm going to move towards Arsenal and Brighton, and I don't think I need to move towards Watkins if City pick up their form. So, yeah, I mean, we've got the Rate My Team scores on here as well, which show the difference between our scores and what Rate My Team says we should have. I don't know if that's a measure of luck. Obviously, you'll say that because I'm actually top for that in terms of the difference between what Rate My Team thinks I should have. Whereas you're down there on 30, I was up on 74. So I don't know. I think I looked at Review, also published their season preview tool, and it said I was in the top 88% for variance. So in other words, I have been lucky, according to Review as well. So, Andy's just putting a face on there. For people on the podcast, Andy's making a face.
It's almost like you agree, Andy.
What?
I don't know. It doesn't feel like I've had a load of luck, but obviously this and Review are saying otherwise. I think that's because, players that Review didn't expect to do well have, and players that I didn't have that they expect to do well haven't done brilliantly, maybe. So it says more about the model than it perhaps says about my luck, I would like to think, but Andy would differ, of course.
You mean Raheem Sterling recovering from 4 consecutive blanks to hit a double digit is luck?
What's that? What?
No.
I think I didn't have Mbumo, and a lot of the models still like Mbumo, and I've finally been justified with that in that Diaby and Sterling have now outscored Mbumo, but it's taken 8 weeks. For a while I was like, oh, have I made a big mistake here? But he did go off the boil and the other 2 have caught up. So I don't know if I'm vindicated with that move, and I don't know whether I need Mbumo going forward, but the models still like him.
Oh, they do. They love him.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kenneth M, a 9th of a drink from him, $1.99. I mean, I'm not drinking tonight, so you two can share it, so it's more like a 5th of a drink or something.
You're Desi driver, aren't you?
Desi driver, yeah. It's good to be in the driving seat on this stream and actually be sober for a change, which is nice. A good comment I wanted to flag here from Leon Wine is it just says it's all about the captain. And it does feel like that at the moment, doesn't it? Because there's not much in it between a lot of us, really, on this. I mean, even between you and I, Mark, it's 50 points. Yeah. But that feels still salvageable at some point. But with our teams all quite similar, I mean, obviously some of us have got a few differences, like Andy with his Mitchell his wild Mitchell punt, moved my wild Colwill punt.
Wildcard.
All living on the edge. The captaincy, I think, is becoming increasingly important, especially because we're seeing strategies without Haaland, right, Andy?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And actually, it's been quite fun because players like Salah and Son have now obviously crept into our feelings. And I think everybody was so worried that Haaland would be the only premium that everybody wanted. Now Salah's got fixtures where he is looking the most captainable majority of the next couple of weeks because Haaland's fixtures aren't very nice up until game week 16, which is why people are even thinking about moving away from him. So the fact that, I mean, on Scoutcast the other day, we had Flappy who hasn't played his wildcard yet, me with a Haaland team that has wildcarded, and Seb with a wildcard team without Haaland.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you think, actually, there is a bit of deviation now, which is quite nice. And people are having to decide, do we go Salah captain? Do we go Son captain? Like even this week, there's a genuine debate about who you captain. So it's brilliant because actually now you should start seeing these gaps forming in the tables, whereas it's just been so bunched up for so long. Like what are we in now? 9 weeks. It's never usually this bunched up this late on, if that makes sense. But no, it's good. It can only be good for the game and only be good in terms of us actually saying we've got some decisions to make.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that I'm kind of in and around the pack now because I was cut adrift at one point. I'm only 2 points behind Praz now and Zofar. These are FPL managers that I really look up to and know are going to go on and have good seasons. So the fact I'm only a few points behind them, there's you as well, I guess. Andy, it's fine. There's not much in it. It's actually 12 points between us. 4 between me and Praz. I was looking at them, rate my team score. There's plenty to play for as we go, and we're going to try and. This week feels a little bit like I think a lot of people are holding the transfers, right? And then game week 10 is when we're going to start seeing some quite big changes. But there is one player in particular who we're going to talk about. Who is on a lot of people's radars and whether he's a good idea, and that is a certain Greek god, Kostas Tsimikas. So he's one that I'm really interested to get your thoughts on. Let's go to the team data first of all. The stats are from Fantasy Football Scout that we'll be talking about in this presentation, not really a presentation, in this fun stream, let's call it that, instead.
Presentation.
Do check out Scout. We're all associated in some ways with them. Great stuff over there, and all their tables and tools will help you have a good season, this bunched up rank kind of mess that we all seem to find ourselves in. But here's the defence. Man City top of the XG conceded on penalty per 90 with 0.7. I don't really trust them at the moment though, Mark. Conceding goals, Rodri's back now, but they've really missed him. But
7 shots per game, though. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, that's a very low volume. They normally are just under 10, but that is particularly low. I guess there's still that kind of narrative that one shot and Ederson concedes, isn't there? I do think that we're not going towards City defenders because there's a perceived lack of value from them, and also when you look at what the likes of Trippier and Cash can give us in terms of attacking potential, and then you talked about Tsimikas, where he's probably going to change. Managers who are playing 3-5-2 and most are, or maybe 3-4-3. There's not going to be a place for a Man City defender when you consider that Tsimikas is probably going to be a factor, and we'll look at him in detail. But I don't think a City defender's really on our radar at all at the moment.
Well, I mean, Andy, do you think we're sleeping a bit on Walker? I mean, he's 16% owned. He's played 90 minutes in every game so far this season. We've always wanted a 5 million-ish Man City defender. He's more attacking as well. I haven't seen him in any teams like on the Twitter and Scout template.
Well, he's in Flappy's team.
Is he? Oh, well, Flappy is. Yeah. Flappy knows his defender. He's got the Robertson issue to deal with, isn't he? This week.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, and he's got Rico Lewis. I mean, it's really tough because already I think there's a Man City in the know that's been on Twitter today saying that it expects some changes in the defence this week. And that is literally, that's the problem. You're waiting every week to find out that so-and-so's been benched and so-and-so's been rotated. And I think Mark said it just a minute ago in terms of the value of these Man City defenders. And it's not like they are nailed-on defenders that you're going to be getting every week. So at least you know they're getting the minutes. Like, you're not at the moment getting the clean sheets every other week, let alone getting the minutes every week either. So it's really tough. I think Walker isn't a bad shout, but the problem is, over these next, up to game week 15, it's really tough looking at those fixtures and thinking, where are those clean sheets coming from? you might expect a clean sheet this week, but who knows what team they put out. Then they got Man United away, which maybe is not a clean sheet. Then they've got Bournemouth, and you think, well, that's a clean sheet. But then Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Spurs at home, Villa away. They're tough. You're not going to be looking at Man City players and thinking, I'm wanting a clean sheet from those, when you've got other players that are good. Owning an Arsenal defender in that run seems to be a better value for money, I would have said. So I think it's really tough going for them. I think after game week 16, plugging in a Man City defender, knowing that they've got the double potentially in 20, could make sense if you can carry them over the blank in 18. But I think they're a tough buy now.
Can I just say the number of times you said clean sheet in that little section?
Yeah,
I do.
Beautiful, absolutely loved it.
I don't even hear what the difference is.
I've got to say, Az, it is strange because what we're talking tonight about managers going without Haaland. We've just said that we're not going to get a City defender. I don't think any of their midfielders are shoe-ins, are they? Right. So
Foden will score against us at the weekend. No, he always scores against us.
I still don't. I mean, like, why would you? If we're not trusting Alvarez, who's starting every game and taking every set piece, then why would we go Foden, who's more expensive and playing in one of the midfield slots?
No, you wouldn't.
Right.
You wouldn't. I'm just saying, if you want a 1 week punt before you wildcard in game week 10.
Yeah, maybe. But feasibly now, teams wildcarding now won't have any City players in them. And that is the top defence, and probably, as we're about to see, the top attack as well. Maybe Newcastle are top attack. We'll see in a minute, I'm sure. But that's crazy, isn't it? Would you believe that? Coming into game week 10 and none of us, we're all struggling to find a place for one single City player.
No, I know. I mean,
and it's not as if rotation at the back has been rife, but actually in attacking areas, it's been pretty... not really much there. He hasn't had the options because of injuries. So it is odd, isn't it?
It's really honest because they've lost Gundogan and Mahrez, who were two players who we would consider if there were injuries, and Gundogan was always a decent shout. But Doku's a massive rotation risk with Grealish around. What's his name has come in. Help me out, Nunes.
What's his name? That's the content they want. That's it.
Nunes is coming, but no one's considering him.
Hit the likes and subscribe, by the way. Yeah. You've got to pick your moments to plug that.
I took a punt on what's his name.
Yeah, what's his face? Yeah, no, but Nunes isn't an option, is he? The only player really in the midfield who could be an option for us is Foden, I think. But like you say, we're not really sure what his role is. So it's not really working. Anyway, we'll come to the attack in a bit.
Can I just highlight Brighton in this table, 12th? Have you any comment on that? I mean, obviously they're about to go to City. I want to ask you, who is going to play left back against City, given that Lamptey and Stupinan are
it'll be March again. It'll be March at left back. He did all right, to be fair, against Liverpool. I just think there was a bit of confusion when Salah was just unmarked in the box to score their first goal. It felt like they just wasn't. I don't think necessarily that having Lamptey or Estepinian would have helped with that, because they're not always like that kind of switched on in that area. But I don't know. We're definitely weaker down that side without anyone there. So yeah, it's going to be March again. I think the team will be the same as it was against Liverpool. Very attacking. We'll aim to press high, and we'll concede goals, but we might score some. Should be a good game. Yeah. Looking at just some of the other teams that are doing well. So, I mean, the top four is Man City top, and then Arsenal, 0.83. Then Chelsea, 0.93. They've also got a really rough games coming up. And then Newcastle in fourth. Botman, what do we think about how's sort of messaging there? Is he going to be all right?
He's not back, is he? He's not back this week.
No.
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, especially when you've got like Burn there as well. I suppose if you have Botman, you'd start him because he's either going to start or he's not going to play at all, is he? But yeah, because it's a nice fixture. That's the problem.
I see. My thoughts on it are: we see this so much, don't we? We see a player who week after week, how's like, he's recovering, he's doing all right, and then week after week he doesn't play. His price goes down. You don't move for another defender, and you're having to play Kabore every week or something like that. I think I'm going to get rid of him.
Yes,
this week.
Weirdly specific, mate.
It's exactly the reason I sold him straight away. This season, one of the things that I said to myself is I'm not going to fall for that, because it is really frustrating when you hear like, oh yeah, he's back with us again, or he's back on the grass, or and it's like all these kind of like steps that you hear in the way that the managers speak, and I've just had enough of it. Like I sold him to Burn straight away for a hit, and I just like. because I wanted to lock in the value over the international break. I thought Botman would go down, Burn would go up, and I think that did happen, right? So I knew that Botman wouldn't be fit after the break. I just had that feeling, and I just hate that frustration when you go, I'm going to hold him, and you watch the price leak out of him, and then lo and behold, he doesn't play after. Look at Reece James. Everyone was like, oh, he's going to be back after the break. I don't think he will be.
No.
I don't think he'll play against Arsenal. And I'm not saying Botman's like in the Reece James category of injury prone, but a knee injury for a centre back, he's a big unit as well, right? So it's going to be more difficult to recover from, I would have thought. So I've decided this season not to tolerate it and just get him out.
Yeah, and I mean there's some issues with Saliba as well, isn't there, Andy? Because Arteta again is saying he's had a bit of an injury. This seems to have been going on for a bit of a while with him now. Yeah. Is that potentially going to be a problem? So important.
I mean, potentially, and the thing is, like I was just saying before, like Arsenal have quite some nice fixtures coming up for the next couple of weeks as well, and you're looking at which Arsenal defender to get, and it isn't actually it's not an easy pick to choose who to go for. I've seen people going Zinchenko. I think Ben White is actually probably someone that's been overlooked quite a lot. He's done quite well this season already, so it's really tough. Gabriel, I feel
how
like
we laughed when Ben White was priced at 5.5.
Yeah. I look at it and think, Gabriel, I still wouldn't trust, I don't think. I feel like any week they could go back to an old formation, all of a sudden he's not in the team anymore. So, it's a real tough one. Raya's probably going to end up in a few more teams than we were expecting maybe. But, yeah, I think Saliba will play, personally. I think he'll be okay, but there's still little question marks over all of them, which I don't like.
Yeah. Looking at the other end of the table, Sheffield United right down the bottom. Surely good news for those keeping the faith with Fernandes and Rashford. New Hoyland owners, Delia in the chat. Hopefully kept onto Hoyland. Should be a decent fixture for them. Finally, Bournemouth in 19th. West Ham, interestingly, in 18th. Didn't realise if they have only kept one clean sheet this season so far, and that was against Sheffield United. Conceded in every other game. Looks good for Villa with us all loading up on their assets. Watkins, Diaby should be back. He's had a bit of a break from wasn't in the France squad. Cash as well. Yeah, I think if you haven't got any Villa players with 2 home games coming up against West Ham and Luton, now's probably the time I think to invest in some of those. Liverpool are in 10th for those considering Tsimikas. They're below Everton, Nottingham Forest. But ahead of the likes of Manchester United, Brighton, Villa. We're going to talk about Tsimikas at length. I won't spoil that section. Let's go over to the team data attack. Top of the pile, Newcastle. Having a good season. Top of the team data defence. In the top 4 for team data defence. Top of team data attack as well. But I don't know. And you got Gordon. You must be pretty excited to finally see your man.
I actually am, yeah, because obviously I brought him in on Wildcard and he was suspended that week. So he's playing for me now this week. I am quite excited to see how he's getting on or how he's going to do. I mean, we watched what he's done so far and he's kind of becoming a little bit of a talisman for that team. And I love the fact that, I've got him. He's so cheap. And it was obviously between him and Neto. And I think I much prefer, you look where Wolves are in this table, where are they 13th? I'd much rather have Gordon for Newcastle. My only slight thing is that obviously they've got Europe as well, so it's just making sure that they're still going to do well in the Prem. But I would much rather have Gordon for the top attacking team in the league than Neto for the 13th top attacking team. So yeah, no, it feels all right at the moment. We'll see what happens.
There's quite a few, isn't there? Isn't there, Mark? There's Palmer, there's Souček, there's Gordon, there's Neto. Would you put Gordon at the top of that bracket?
Yeah, I think so. I think because of the reasons that Andy mentions there, I think Europe is a bit of a concern, but I think they've got other options they can play out there and rotate. Anderson could play out there, for example. And the fixtures are good for them as well. If you look at the run they've got, okay, Arsenal at home in 11's tough, but other than that, they go to Bournemouth, Chelsea, United, Everton after that, and you'd think there's goals in those games for them. I think they might test their defensive result, but I think going forward they've been really impressive. And Gordon he had a fantastic under-21 tournament, obviously. He's played a tournament there. That was the signpost for what was to come. The only reason we didn't look at him or Barnes was the competition for the place. The minute Barnes got injured, Gordon was obviously going to start with his first choice on that side, and he's taken his opportunity. And I think he's becoming really important to the way Newcastle play as well. His pace is such a threat. He's very direct. He's improving his end product as well, both in terms of finishing and supply. and he's got Isak and Wilson to aim for in the middle for his crosses as well, who are good finishers. So what's not to like really with Gordon? I think if I was downgrading Sterling, and if I wasn't going to look up to either a Bowen, I would be looking at Gordon. Yeah.
Thanks to Nigel the Crab, super chat. Usual contribution to the As Fund. Yeah, stop giving us money, Nigel.
Nigel, stop it.
You give us enough joining the as a member. Get yourself a lem sip. He likes Neto. Reckons Neto's on for a 13-pointer. Good fixture against Bournemouth this week.
Yeah. I got offered to go to that one as well, but I turned it down because I was worried it was going to be 0-0 and I was going to be sat in the rain the whole time. But it could be a big one. Bournemouth have to turn it around at some point, surely.
Yeah. I think that's gonna. If that was on a TV time, I think that one would definitely be the Garden Centre game. This week. It's probably 1-0 either way.
Just in this data, it's worth pointing out City aren't near the top. They're 7th, 1.71. So that's below Villa, just above Chelsea, and they've had decent fixtures. Their fixtures 2.95 on the ticker so far are amongst the most favourable. Do you think that? I'll ask you this, Andy. Do you think that we mentioned this to Luke last week, and he didn't really say that the data on City has played into his decision making? But do you think it is for people? Do you think City haven't really caught the eye enough, and maybe people feeling they can move away from Haaland and they're a bit more relaxed about it because of that?
See, it's funny, isn't it? Like, I do think there's a little bit of recency bias with it, with the fact that Haaland did so bad against Arsenal in terms of he didn't really get any chances at all. But you look at some of the games this season, I can't remember which game it was, where he put up almost 3 XG and also completely missed it. Was it West Ham?
Yeah.
And you just think the numbers are still there for him. He's not like, yes, maybe the team's maybe not getting as much as they were last year, but he's still getting the numbers. And you don't need him to get those numbers in every single game, but when he's going big, he's still going big. So I don't think there's anything to worry about with Haaland. And like I said, I think a lot of people were maybe justified in that decision because of the Arsenal game. But I mean, Brighton and Bournemouth, 2 of the next 3. He's going to put up the numbers in those, you would have thought as well. Like Brighton in particular.
If he'd got 4 goals against West Ham, I think people would be a lot less likely to sell him.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And you think because he's 30 points down on what he was last year at this point. But that is, like you said, that's just those goals he didn't score against West Ham, he'd be easily up there again. So it is scary going without him.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got some stats later on, that I want to talk about recency bias because I think it does play into the Haaland decision in another way, but we'll wait until we get to those stats to talk about that.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to Kenneth M, another super chat from him. Thank you so much. Getting closer to a night for a drink now. Enjoy the contribution and keep up the great yet fun content. How nice. Thanks, Kenneth. Appreciate it.
It's very chilled tonight, isn't it? It feels very chilled.
It's because I'm not pissed.
You got some fans in the chat though, Mark.
Right?
Yeah, I've been flashing those comments up, Andy.
As sent it to me via WhatsApp, and I haven't got WhatsApp open. Can you email the link to me, so I can open it? Because I don't want to open WhatsApp.
Really? I'm going to have to...
Yeah. I have got an email account
everything could go wrong if I try this.
So you don't need to send a verification code.
I've got to email it to you. I've got to send it on Twitter to Andy because his wife's got the code.
I'm going to be a bit annoyed if my wife gets your verification code as well, Mark.
I'll be worried if she gets anything to do with my emails. That's for sure.
God. This is taking a weird turn.
Anyway, just before we move off this table, by the way, it does really worry me that Spurs are in 3rd, and I'm potentially going to be ditching 2 Spurs midfielders in Gameweek 10 to get Arsenal and Brighton.
Because look at Arsenal. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. And I'm looking at it and thinking Spurs are showing us so far, and a small sample size, only 9 weeks or whatever, but they're showing us they're one of the best attacking teams in the league, and I'm thinking of getting rid of 2 of their players, or at least one.
Also, if you look at the ticker and you go to next 5 games, they're top. Right, so they've also got good fixtures. They've got, in the next 5, Fulham, Palace, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa. Villa at home. Villa aren't great away from home, so actually you'd expect Spurs to score maybe a couple of goals in that game as well. So what we're showing here is the 6th fixture, and obviously the 6th fixture for Tottenham is Man City away, which is the hardest game you can possibly have. If you take game week 14 off, that 5, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa, rates the top. So I'm not so sure about moving Osson to Saka. I'm not so sure.
The minutes are a worry, aren't they?
Well, shall I read you what Arteta said today? Basically, this is what intrigued me. He basically said, I'm sure he wants to play. I don't see any player that doesn't want to be in the starting 11. He's been working so hard to be fit for this game, and let's see where he's at today. He had a couple of days off. That was needed. He had rest, but unfortunately we had to rest him, but he needed treatment and training to be ready to be available in Chelsea. It's a bit where he says, there just seems to be doubt in some of those words that Arteta's saying that we haven't heard before. I don't know whether he's preparing us for the fact he's not going to play, or he's preparing us for the fact that actually my approach to Saka's going to change a bit. It's just something different the way he's talking. Like,
it's a hamstring injury, isn't it? Hamstring?
I don't know. You know, he says here, like, I think we have to play him when we see he's in the right condition to play, mentally, physically, and if he's performing. I mean, surely his performances aren't in question. He's their best player.
Everything Arteta says is nonsense.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Like, nothing he says is useful at all in his press conferences.
Right. You think you're just going to dismiss it as we shouldn't?
Well, no, I don't think you can Well, I think you can dismiss what he says. I think the proof will be in the pudding, so to speak. Because if Saka's not in the squad again, then he's got a clear injury and he could be out for a while. If he's back on the bench or in the team, then it's clearly not that major. I think this is a perfect week to hold. You're not going to be bringing in Saka for Chelsea away. If he's in the squad, he'll be in my team in game week 10. But no way will he be in my team if he's not in the squad. I don't think, because I just don't trust Arteta. I just trust whether if he plays or not.
I'm going to come back to it again. The game week that we're picking Saka for is the Sheffield United at home, and they go to Seville in the Champions League 3 days before. And if there is any doubt about Saka's fitness, if there's any chance that Arteta is managing him, do you not think there's a chance he won't play at home to Sheffield United?
I think I still maintain that if Saka's fit, he will play Sheffield United.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just what I think, because I think we've seen it in the past when Saka's needed a rest, he hasn't had one.
If he's 100% fit, yes. If there's any thought that he's got an injury and Arteta suddenly has to be more considerate of his minutes, then that changes everything, doesn't it?
Well, I think Saka's needed a rest before in the 87 consecutive games.
So you don't think anything has changed then?
No, I don't think it has. I
think it's a different scenario. I do think it's a different scenario. I completely agree with Az in terms of he literally plays him every single game, but he hasn't really had an injury before like he's had this time, and I think that's the difference. I think because he's got that slight injury, I don't think he's then going to risk him.
But the next game after Sheffield United is Newcastle away, which is a severe test, right? So there's every chance that he'll look at that Sheffield United game and go, you know what, we can beat Sheffield United at home without Saka. He's just played in Seville. We've just flown back. I need him 100% for Newcastle. I don't think I'll start him against Sheffield United. You don't think there's no chance of that at all?
Well, obviously there is a chance. I'm just saying that I think if
Saka, we're losing Son for him.
If Saka starts against Chelsea, I think he starts against Sheffield United. That's what I think.
I don't think we can be certain. I don't. We'll see. Let's see how Seville goes. You know, if he plays the full game in Seville, I think that we could be losing Son for Crystal Palace away, which isn't an easy game, admittedly, but losing Son and all the value that we've built up in Son to get Saka in a game where I'm not absolutely certain sitting in how he starts.
Or would you move to Martinelli then? That's what Jack Flash Poet's asking.
Yeah, maybe, but I guess we're presuming they're going to absolutely destroy Sheffield United and get 4 or 5 goals.
Well, the biggest issue is the fact that, like you said, in game week 11 they got Newcastle away.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anything in that game. So if they do nothing, or if he doesn't even play in game week 10, what are you doing in game week 11? Because obviously Spurs have Chelsea at home. I'm expecting them to score against Chelsea at home. So I think that's tough, personally. But then from game week 12 onwards, when we know a bit more about Saka, that could be quite nice. So they got they got a nice four fixtures then. But yeah.
I just think sitting here now, I'm not confident that I'll have the confidence to go ahead and sell Son for Saka. Now, we might, after we see him this weekend, after we see him against Seville, and then there's no doubt that he's super fit and there's no concern, then maybe we change. But right here now, looking at what Arteta's just said, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to nail in that transfer and go, I'm definitely selling Son for Saka at the moment. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, interesting. Well, I think there's lots of different ways you can go. I think like we said, we've got the Chelsea game to kind of assess and see what happens in that. If there is doubt around Saka, then yeah, I think it becomes a much harder sell. But yeah, I mean, I don't love the fixtures for Spurs over the next kind of four or five after this game. So I'll probably be selling one. And leave with Martinelli or Saka that comes in.
I think they're pretty fixture proof. I don't think they're going to not score against many teams this year, the way they're playing. So I look at them. They're top of the ticker of the next 5. Okay, maybe the ticker's incorrect on Palace away, but I think they score goals against Chelsea, Wolves, and that Villa at home myself. So I don't think it's a given that Son doesn't outscore Saka. I know Saka's got better fixtures, but I don't think it's a given that Son's down the middle and taking pens, and Saka's not down the middle and sharing pens. I mean,
yeah. No, fair enough. You're quite quiet tonight, Mark. Like, as in,
Am
volume
I?
wise. Yeah.
oh, okay, I'll raise myself.
A few people
so to
saying
speak.
you're softly spoken. You are normally quite softly spoken.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. A little bit more volume.
FPLD, thanks for the super chat. Arsenal's game after Sheffield United is West Ham in the Cup. So it's not the Seville game.
Oh, is it not? Am I completely wrong? I've said this before.
Well, FPLD's paid $1.99 to tell you this.
Well, fair enough. So when do they play Seville then? Is it before Newcastle?
Yeah, FPLD, if you could send us another $1.99 and tell us.
Okay, so
that'd be great.
they obviously play Seville before Newcastle, which is even more of a concern. I mean, yeah, is he going to play Seville and Newcastle? So he could still be rested for Sheffield United because
They've got they got Sevilla before Sheffield United.
yeah, there you go. That's what I said.
Yeah.
So he's wrong.
FPLD, take your $1.99 back.
Thank you.
Don't come at the Godfather.
They got West Ham after Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you've got good European knowledge there, Mark, seeing as you couldn't do
thanks
anything on tic-tac-toe.
Very good. Very
Thank
good
you.
indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did doubt myself though. So.
Excellent. There's a question about the diff column. This is something you calculate.
That's difficulty. Yeah, that's difficulty based on
difficulty
the difficulty of the fixtures they've had to this point. So in other words, Everton have had easier fixtures than the 3 teams above them. There you go.
I've done FPLD dirty. He said Arsenal's game after Sheffield United is West Ham. So it's Sevilla, Sheffield United, West Ham.
I don't doubt he's not going to play the West Ham in the Cup. I don't think he'll play him in that game. He doesn't have to play his first strength team in the Carabao Cup, does he? But
no, I said he was contradiction. He wasn't at all. The $1.99 was well spent. Thank you, FPLD. Good information. Right, let's take a look at some players. I mean, keepers. Every week I try and think of a new excuse as to why we should show keepers. There is a potential one this week because there are some rumours, and Mark, you're probably best placed to tell us out of the three of us. There are some rumours that it's swim time in Nottingham at the moment, and the game against Luton isn't going to go ahead, which for Turner owners across the world is about the worst thing that can happen. But if it doesn't go ahead, we might need a new keeper. That's my link.
I've got ITKs, and put it this way, I'm going to be buying my train ticket tonight. So
okay.
There you go. I haven't bought my train ticket yet, but from what I've been told, we're confident that it's on. So I don't think we need to be worried.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
And Turner starts presumably. He's done all right.
Turner starts. Yeah. I don't think he's got through that bad game and managed to start at Palace. So I think he starts this one. Yeah. All good.
Super chat, by the way. Have you seen there's a super chat from Todd?
From Todd, yeah.
No
question. I appreciate your work.
Perfect.
Thank you, Todd. That's an
orange
one. That's an orange one, Mark. That's a big money.
Oh my word!
That's big money.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Todd.
On the same kind of line as Todd, by the way. What a massive thing that happened this week where someone used our late tackle clip in the assembly.
Oh my God, Mr. Botchery.
Wait until I wasn't on.
Oh, that was incredible. And I reached out to him as well, and we're going to get him on the show, aren't we? As we're going to do a little interview with him. He's a big fan of the show. He is the headmaster. I presume he's the.
I think you two should do it because he's used your clip, and he's a teacher, obviously. So
yeah, well,
nice.
Mr. Botwee, I think he is the headmaster of that school. He said call him Manny, and so a shout out if you're watching, Manny. Thank you for the kind words you sent in your DM.
Experts, he called you both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
clearly hasn't watched the late tackle before.
It was so good though, wasn't it, to see FPL being used in schools like that? You know, these teams. I mean, get with the program, Andy. Come on, roll it out to your.
I don't know why he didn't pick Az though, considering he said pick what's his name tonight. So
I know.
The real experts.
He's not coming across like an expert.
I have to say, Andy, genuinely, one of the things I look forward to most at the start of the season is your thread on when you talk to the kids about about FPL at your school. I love it so much. So good.
From the mouths of babes, mate.
Justin Seaman, if the trains are running, good point. I love this comment as well from I'm 1974. By train, do you mean canoe?
I didn't think about that. I better check, hadn't I? Yeah.
Excellent. And Reedy just says, when are the experts coming? Yeah, they ain't.
Raptor is 2 minutes from the City ground. Here we go. Look, Raptor's even closer. He's ITK better than any of us. And there you go. Rain has stopped. The Trent is very, very close to fudding. Should be fine in my opinion. Okay. Raptor, can I DM you in the morning and see what you say before I set off? But yeah. Wow.
I saw the Trent and thought of Alexander Arnold, and I was like, "What? Why is he flooding? That's how much this game's." Have you seen that player? I don't know if it was a joke, but he's called Trent Kane.
Yeah, I saw
something.
That.
Was that a joke, or was that actually a player called?
No, it was all three of the. No, or was yeah, because they took the mickey, didn't they? Saying it was a footy man regen in real life.
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
No,
Trent Walker Kane or something. It was Trent Kane Dirty. That was it.
There it is. Focals in the chat.
Is that a real player? Because that is. Yeah.
We really don't want to talk about goalkeepers, do we?
No.
Okay,
one word from both of you, right? If the heavens open tonight and the game's off and you've got to move for a goalkeeper, it can't be Areola. Who'd you get, Mark?
Well, it depends if you've got money, doesn't it? Because Raya's probably the best choice if you've got money. If not, you've got to go up to 4 or 5, haven't you? Really, to go anywhere decent. I'm going to say Pickford.
Pickford.
4-4.
Andy's talking about getting Onana.
Is he?
No,
he's not.
Not you.
No.
Sorry, the real Andy. Let's talk.
I mean, looking at the fixtures, let's get the ticker up again. I've closed the ticker now. I don't know whatever it is. Right. Okay. Looking at the fixtures, if you go, it's
not one word.
No, it's not an easy decision, is it? Because Areola is by far the best option given the West Ham fixtures and his price. So why would you even look beyond him? I mean, I've got him in to play him every week now, I think.
But even for a 1 week punt, it's hard to find a decent one this week.
Well, you don't go a keeper in a 1 week punt.
You do if you're wildcard in game week 10.
Neto, I guess.
Yeah.
Wolves and Burnley is where you go, probably.
I think I'd go Johnston personally. But it's not nice for this 1 week, but then the fixtures are quite nice.
Slippers is in the chat. Onana, trying to justify the Onana pick. Onana will only be 1 week only with 5.1 million to spend.
It's a star-studded chat, isn't it? We've got Focal, Raptor and Slippers in. We've got, all the heavy hitter content creators are in the house.
Sorry, Andy, you're the real Andy.
No, it's fine. Literally, my confidence.
You look quite hurt. I felt quite bad.
I can't compete with Andy.
Who would you pick, Andy, out of goalkeepers? 1 word.
Yeah, Johnston. I think I'd go Johnston.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the money to pick him last week, otherwise I would have had him. But yeah, I think Johnston's a good pick. And what's his name? Henderson's going to be out for a
What's his
while.
name? Oh, welcome to my world.
No.
Yes.
It's contagious.
Been waiting for that all night. I'd go Raya. There you go. Say no more. Defenders. Let's talk about some of these. I mean, I think we should just go straight into the man of the moment.
Hold on, I want to talk about Murillo. You give me a chance.
Yeah. He was who I was going to say, Mark. Man of the moment.
Who's that? Sorry,
Murillo.
Yeah, no, he's looking something.
He looks
special,
good, doesn't
he? Yeah, I don't know if we'll get clean sheets because we don't look well. Defensively, we've had really tough fixtures. Defensively, we're mid-table in the XG non-penalty, aren't we? Conceded with the toughest fixtures, and we've got a better run. But a 4-5 defender, because of the value elsewhere, you're not going Murillo yet. But he's clearly got some attacking return potential in him. That run was ridiculous. So let's see what he does. I'll see him close up tomorrow and see what I think of him then. So.
Yep. Andy, you and I, Trippierless.
I know.
It's not fun, is it?
Yeah.
You worried?
You've got Burn as well?
No.
Well, have you not? Who have you got?
I got Botman.
I got Botman. No, I feel happy having Burn. I feel like if there's any clean sheet this week that looks most nailed on, it's that Newcastle one, to be perfectly honest.
Yep.
And I'm happy having Burn. But I mean, me and you have gone for Trippier in Greyhead Strictly.
He's getting 9. He's getting 9 at least.
Exactly. So we're kind of hedging our bets a little bit, aren't we? And hoping at least he can get us some joy there.
It's getting to that point, isn't it, already, where you see a Newcastle clean sheet and it's just a given he's got 3 bonus.
I hate it. It's so horrible. And I'm still not moving for him. I know, like, it's so obvious this week, but...
that's without an attacking return as well.
He costs like, what 8% of our budget or something like that on our
He's 6'9" now, is he?
He's 6'9", yeah.
Oh, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But he's justifying it. Like, he's so good. And yeah, I think he's going to keep punishing us as we go. But maybe we have the answer to our problems, Andy. There is a new defender, the super Greek, Tsimikas. Here he is. This is basically, I was looking for some analysis all kind of week for basically when Robertson doesn't play, does Tsimikas always start? And at FPL _run farm, PHARM.
It's FPL pharmacist, that is.
Huh?
That's his name, although that's his tag.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Has done it for us, which is happens so often for us, doesn't it, Mark? On this show, people doing it.
It's very, very convenient how much I can pilfer from the community. But there is so much stuff.
Yeah.
So, thank you, FPL pharmacist, for putting this together. I think Luke said last week that he felt that Tsimikas played every game.
There's been 18 games that Robertson hasn't played, and in all 18 games, Tsimikas has started. He hasn't always finished the games. In fact, when Robertson's been kind of rested, he's come on for Tsimikas. He's gone off at half-time once, Robertson. He's gone off at 59 minutes twice, Tsimikas as well, which obviously wouldn't be ideal. But generally speaking, when Robertson's out, Tsimikas does play. I'm tempted, really tempted.
Data. This is what's interesting. Look at the data. 9 starts in 22-23. And he created 18 chances in those 9 starts, so 2.1 chance created per 90. Season before that, 21-22, 9 starts again, created 25 chances, so that's 2.57 chances per game. Open play crosses is almost 7 per game, in 21-22, and it was 5 per game last season. XG on penalty 0.23, 0.28. If you go back to defenders this season, that would put him in the top 10. That would put him in the top 10 currently, I think. 0.28, yeah.
Yep.
So he'd be in the top 10 based on the 2 seasons previous where he played 9 starts. So we've got to expect that over this period, if he does start for Robertson, he's going to be in the top 10 defenders for XG on penalty.
Yeah,
right.
I mean that.
And he's 4-4, and yeah,
that all sounds great. But the chat is going mad. We've got Raptor here. Saying one of the... Oops, I've messed that one up. Hang on. Sorry, Raptor. Let's put you a bit higher. Give Raptor more priority. I can't. There we go. Completely different system. Obviously, Trent inverting as well. Some rumours
that's the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, the unknown is could Gomez come in? They've got other options there. I mean, I saw Klopp's press conference, and I think in terms of being reassured, I was pretty reassured by it.
Yeah.
He said... Basically, Tsimikas is the most experienced. Basically, said he's the first choice replacement. We've got other options because Tsimikas can't play every game. That's what he said. Tsimikas starts, like guaranteed. I think he starts every Premier League game personally.
I think we've got the beauty of sitting and waiting what happens this week, and then we can move, can't we? He's not going to go up in price tonight.
Well, I haven't got the beauty because I need to get rid of Botman or I need to get rid of a defender. I need to make a defensive move this week.
Oh, do you? So you're thinking of gambling, are you?
Well, it's Tsimikas or Gabriel for me. Gabriel seems the safer option and a good option, but Tsimikas is fun.
I think Tsimikas is worth it. Those 4 fixtures as well in the next 4, like Everton at home, Forest at home, Luton away, Brentford at home. Even if he only starts 3 of those, like I think that's worth it.
Well, then he's got Fulham and Sheffield United. Fulham, Sheffield United after that, and Crystal Palace.
Man City away's in there, but I think he's worth it, yeah.
The other issue is Liverpool are 10th in the defensive data. I know they've had hard fixtures, but the clean sheets have not been coming. So is he going to be reliant on attacking returns? Can we rely on him for attacking returns? Maybe we can. Okay. Set pieces.
He got 4 assists in 9 starts last season. That's pretty good. Yeah, and what I feel for is the people who played the wildcard and went Trent and went, well, I'm going to go Trent because I need to spend the money. And then a week later, I'm not saying Tsimikas is in the Trent level, but he's a lot cheaper. and 4 assists in 9 starts suggests that he has got some chops in him in terms of attacking returns. So, I don't think I would have gone Trent in the wildcard if I played it now.
Well, that is. I think it's a bit of a blow for people who wildcarded without Haaland, because I think a lot of people did it to take a punt on Trent, and now we've suddenly got this option in Tsimikas, who is arguably just as good.
Who could be? He's a low rent version of Trent, but how much?
I'm not sure just as good.
No. But by how much? What's the difference?
The price difference is obviously massive there, isn't it?
In the role that Trent is playing at the moment, I don't think there's much in it between them, genuinely.
Because Tsimikas takes corners and set pieces as well.
It helps that Robertson's out for quite a while as well. Doesn't it sound like it's going to like 7 weeks or something?
It's months, it's months.
But it does all depend on what Raptor said earlier, right? I think we need this game just to be sure, just to see what system he plays. He might change his system up.
Yeah.
But we saw over the international break, you see that cross that he provided for the goal? Yeah, I forget, was it against Ireland? It was an incredible first-time cross. Well, what first time, but it was an incredible outswinging cross, which was converted. And so he's got it in him. And he's aiming at some, decent attackers. So, yeah.
Don't get us wrong, Martin Sutcliffe. I'm not saying ability-wise Tsimikas is close to Trent. I still think Trent is a world-class fullback. But in terms of FPL returns...
the price.
Yeah.
It's literally almost half the price.
Yeah.
Mr. Botway was in the chat, by the way.
Is he? Is Manny there?
Said hello. He said hello,
Oh, look at
Where's
that.
Mr. Botway? That's Nigel the Crab giving us money to tell us.
Hello Radio, was it?
I don't know.
Like
I need to find him.
Oh, here he is, Mr. Botway.
Yay!
There you go.
Or it's someone pretending to be Mr. Botway, but either way.
Could be, but I'd like to think that it's not. Hopefully school went well for you last week, Mr. Botway. He's my favourite now.
Yeah, absolutely. So are we all saying Tsimikas yes then?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's making me rethink my transfer strategy. I was going to go Sterling to Bowen with my next transfer, but I think I will be going Gusto to Tsimikas.
Yeah, I like that.
It gives me the rotation with Burn. It means I don't have to play Burn and Trippier every game, and Liverpool, Newcastle rotate really well defensively. So I think that's what I'm going to do and keep Sterling probably.
Yep. One of two other players I want to mention on the defenders are Destiny Adogi in 50th, XG per 90 of 0.12, and Pedro Porro, he's in 14th, 0.22. I mean, it's not a huge amount in it between them. There's a lot of places, but it's only 0.1 in terms of XG on penalty per 90. But Porro is looking the better pick, isn't he? And did you go with Porro in the end on the wildcard?
I did.
Yeah.
Mark and I spoke about this before I nailed the wildcard. I can't remember when it was, and we were discussing the difference between the two of them. And if you look at the heat maps, they're both getting forward a ridiculous amount, and they both look like wingers. But the biggest thing is, every time Udogie gets up, he just doesn't look like he's got that composure and those decision-making skills to make the right decision when he gets up there. Whereas Porro, just every time he gets up, looks like he's making the right decision. And I think it was against Liverpool when he just put that nice little cross. And obviously, who was it that got the own goal in the last minute?
What's his name?
Oh, I can't do it now.
The experts. Mr. Botway, this is who you said. This is who you showed to your class.
Honestly, assembly next week will go, yeah, don't listen to what I said last week. Chaps.
It was Joel Matip, Andy.
Matip, that's it. I always want to say Canate. But it's, it just looks like Porro's the one that's going to be making all those right decisions. It's like Trippier. When he gets forward, you know he's going to be putting in those crosses that are going to be hitting the man. And obviously, it seems like the same with Porro. Udogie was great because there was obviously a 0.5 price difference between them, whereas now it's only 0.1, 0.2. So I think if you have that extra 0.1, 0.2, you go for Porro over.
No, it's quite a bit now. It's point. It's 0.2. Sorry, I thought Porro got up to more. No, Porro's 5.1. Yeah, so now it's just 0.2 between them. It was quite a lot, wasn't it? At 0.4 at one point.
I'm trying to crowbar in how much is Udogie in the window, but I just can't do it. There must be a way of doing it.
He's 4.9.
You've done it, Mark. You've done it.
Let's take a look at midfield. Lots of players on here. Midfield is a bit of a minefield at the moment. Salah's up to second, 0.74. Great stats. Shot per 90, top 10. Shots in the box per 90. In the top 10 as well. Points per 90, 7.8. I think that's kind of the joint high, so kind of the regular players as well. Although Hwang going under the radar, so everyone going for Neto. Old Hwang, 8.3 points per 90. Not bad, is it? Someone's looking for someone a little bit different. But yeah, Salah's looking great. Obviously, Son and Maddison, 5th and 6th, 0.7 and non-penalty XG. I mean, these are just like really, really high numbers. Ward-Prowse and Bowen, neck and neck, 0.55 and 0.54. Mark, listen to you on late tackle. You're still going for Bowen? Sterling to Bowen, that was the move, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was going to be this week. But I don't need to because Bowen's not going to go up. I was going to do it just to try and keep up with the prices, but I don't need to now. I can make a decision after the game week deadline. I think Tsimikas and Bowen could be going up Saturday night, so I'd probably have to make an early transfer, which people will go, why are you making an early transfer? Crazy. Well, I'm going to just stick to the policy. I'm just going to keep going. Keep driving that value. I probably will go Tsimikas though and keep Sterling, and then rather go Sterling to Bowen, I'll probably downgrade Sterling to 6-5 midfielders, maybe go Matoma, because Matoma has got good fixtures too. So I'll keep Sterling for this week and Brentford at home, and then probably go Sterling down to Matoma after that, and then have the Tsimikas option. So I love Bowen though, I really like it, but when we looked at the attacking data for West Ham, it wasn't spectacular. And so I'm waiting for Bowen to move up front, though. Do you think that's going to happen, Maz? Do you think he's going to be centre forward too?
Yeah, I listened to you both talk about it. I thought there's a good case both sides. I think Andy made the point that Moyes likes a physical striker, right? A big physical presence up top, which obviously Bowen isn't. But then, Mark, you mentioned that he's played striker at Hull, for example, and can do that role. So it'll be a bit of a change in kind of what they're used to. But they've struggled so much with strikers over the years, haven't they? Is Antonio like their all-time Premier League goal scorer or something? Is that right?
I'm not absolutely certain, but I'm sure there's a Hammers fan.
He must be up there. But and then they've got that record, haven't they, of new strikers that have signed. None of them can get over 10 goals in a season. Yeah. So it's clearly something they've struggled with, and Chelsea have got similar problems, and sometimes actually moving things around and like they did with Arnautovic can work really well. So I think, though, and I hate to say it twice in one speech, but I kind of agree with Andy. I don't necessarily think that moving Bowen to striker makes him a much better option. I like him off the right. And look at Rashford when he plays up front for Man U. He's not a better option for our teams. Because they've got a bit more licence to roam a bit more rather than having to be kind of the centre point and hold things up. So, I don't know. I've got Ward-Prowse. I'm not massively happy with him. I do kind of wish I'd gone for Bowen, but I don't think I'm desperate to make the switch.
I think I need to see a bit of... Yeah, he definitely is. The fixtures are good, aren't they? But I want to see a bit more.
He's a good pick, definitely.
Yeah. I think...
You've got him, haven't you, Andy?
Yeah, I do, yeah. So I went for my wild card. I think I went for him just knowing that I wanted him from 10 onwards because their 5 fixtures from then just look really nice. Obviously, I'm expecting 2 blanks from... That was the only thing I'll say, is that obviously getting him in, I wasn't expecting a lot in the 2 fixtures I had. But I preferred him over Ward-Prowse. Like I looked at it quite a few times and thought, do I go Ward-Prowse for the money saving? But it was just Bowen's the one I wanted. I've had Ward-Prowse so many times, and it never goes the way I want it to. Until I sell him, and then he scores 2 free kicks.
Well, I got him in, and now he's in a deeper role.
Exactly.
So,
whereas Bowen, I don't think that could ever really happen.
No.
I feel like you said, he's either could go further forward, or he's always going to be running down that wing. So, and he does get in the box so much too, which is why I love him. And the minutes are always there for him. And obviously, like I said, fixtures from Game Week 10 are lovely. I will say as well, I was just going to mention on this table, we've mentioned there about a few alternatives for Arsenal mids. Saka in 3rd. There are no other Arsenal mids near him.
No. Look at where Martinelli and Odegaard are.
58 and 69.
Like it was almost like Saka or nothing, isn't it? If you're going to go for
the gap's massive. I mean, I made this point last week, Andy, didn't I, to Luke, and said that one of the things that in the past with captaining Saka is the fact that Arsenal have got other sources of goals where if you always feel that Salah and Haaland are the more dominant than Saka is for Arsenal. And lo and behold, if you look at review, Odegaard is actually expected to get more points than Saka over the next 5 or 6 games. So the models definitely reflect what I said there. But the reality of recent data doesn't reflect that. Obviously, the models need time to they need more data than what we've seen this season. They need more than 8 game weeks. That's why review shows that it's still a bit of a bunch up between Martinelli, Saka and Odegaard. But this data says completely the opposite. It says otherwise, doesn't it? Yeah.
And he's gone. He's livid with that news. He's still there, Andy.
back to a two-man show. It's the Yeovil internet striking again. He's back. There we go. There he goes.
Can we hear you? You say something, Andy? Hello? Hello?
No,
Andy?
We might have lost his sound. We'll carry on until he pipes up again.
He's going to leave the room and come back with a box of Kleenex or something, isn't he? I hope not. Greg Frost, 1.7k watching. 300 likes. Yeah,
wow.
do give us
amazing.
A like. Come on. We've got to have at least half the amount of people watching liking the stream. So do give us a like. The chat is disabled for anyone who hasn't subscribed as well. So if you do want to get involved in the chat.
You're such a cruel taskmaster.
Absolutely.
You trickster.
Do subscribe to the channel and, you can get involved in the chat or not. We just like you to subscribe as well. Around 60% of people who watch BlackBox aren't subscribed, Mark.
That's a crime. Absolute crime.
Isn't it? Isn't it just?
There you go.
No, that's great.
Yeah, Andy's back.
Yeah,
there he
Andy,
is.
there you go. We filled in for you, Andy.
Oh, great comment from Vindy. Andy's missus has revoked his permission slip. Love that.
Oh, by the way, I think that's Vindy, by the way. When I did the Prasmaster, he had to go out. He said he would go out and take a picture. He lives in Falkirk, and he took a picture of my name on a piece of paper with those amazing horse heads in the background.
Wow.
You see those in Falkirk, Scotland? Absolutely amazing bloke. Thank you so much for doing that. To do that just because some guy on the internet said, could you go and
Did
do
you
this
see
for me?
Prasmaster, Mark?
Lovely
yeah,
bloke.
I thought that was brilliant. I mean, it was in stark contrast to the other activity that was done over the international break, wasn't it?
I know.
It was very wholesome, and I was amused by some of the things. It is great, isn't it, when you see the community, that call to action that everyone was making, and people were doing it. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. I said, why are all these photos appearing on my timeline? And then I traced it back to Prasmaster. Very good, loved it.
Yeah. Excellent. One other player on this list before we move over that someone has mentioned is, I'm hoping and praying that Diaby can keep pace with Watkins. Not great reading when you see him down in 44th. Of midfielders with an XG on penalty per 90 of 0.38. Are you floundering a bit on him, Mark? Because you were very hot on him starting the season.
Yeah, I don't think that I'd move off him to. You'd have to go down to like a Gibbs White or Mbumo or maybe a Gordon. It's there, but the fixtures are so good. And when I've watched him, I just don't think the ball has fallen for him yet. And he's had a couple of very unfortunate incidents. He had a goal disallowed that was only just offside, and obviously that would have been bonus points as well, probably. Fixtures are too good. If you look at West Ham, Luton, Forest, Fulham, and then they go to Spurs, but then they got Bournemouth after that. So the next 6 are too good. I'm going to hold him, and I expect him to work his way up this table. I think we knew that he was going to outperform his XG. We'd seen that in Germany, so I expected that. But I did expect him to be in the top 30. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah. Not much in it between the kind of the mids around the 5 million mark. Gordon 0.48. I mean that's pretty good, but he does love a yellow card. That's why he was banned. Palmer in 32nd, same as Gordon, but has actually the Gordon, Palmer, and Souček all have the same 0.48. Palmer's got the penalties, but tough fixtures. Souček's got great fixtures coming up, but we're not sure of his role. Then Gordon's playing in the best attacking side, so you can kind of pick your poison really with those three. Gibbs White as well in 54th. With Luton at home next.
A popular punt, isn't he, this week? Some movement his way. Obviously, the fixture's on his side. And he's on pens. That's what he's got. He's like Palmer. He's on pens. So, yeah, I'm not going there yet. I want to see. I mean, Forest 2.0. We're starting to play a bit more football. I think Cooper wants more goals, so I'll see how it goes tomorrow. And it's never say never, but yeah, like it.
I really asked why there are 41 players on the list, but it goes up to 69. It's because we always do the top 30. And then if there's other players we want to bring in, to show where they are in the table, because if otherwise people are like, where's Odegaard? Where's Martinelli? Then we kind of show those as well. Garrick says, best Brighton asset. Do you know who I really like? Who isn't even on this table, I don't think.
Can I guess?
Go on.
Is it a Dringer?
It is a Dringer.
Yeah, I knew he'd say
Yes.
Dringer.
Yeah. Love him.
God, just so boring.
Is that boring? I mean, you were just listening to me on the FPL pod the other day, weren't you? That's what it was.
Oh, that's what it was. right after I listened to Mark
They're
on
still getting you on that, are they?
Yeah, they are. Yep. Kelly always sets me up though. She's always like, she always says, we don't worry, we've got in like one of the big brains of FPL or one of the experts coming in. How's your season going, Az? I'm like, I'm 3 million, Kelly. Cheers. It's awful.
She wants to get the real experts on, don't she, Andy?
Yeah, exactly.
What's his name?
Mr. Botway will have a chat. Yeah. He'll put in a good word for us.
It's a Dingra, by the way, not a Dringa. A
Dingra.
Pronounce it.
Yeah.
He's honestly though, he's 5 million, and I think he's nailed down the right wing.
Is he? Is he nailed it down? Surely only while March is playing out of position.
No, he's ahead. He's ahead of March. He's ahead of March now. I don't think March has got back into De Zerbi's good books after the FA Cup final miss. Because after that penalty miss, his head just hasn't looked right. And De Zerbi said a few times about him kind of bouncing back. Didn't start the season as well. Didn't feature much in pre-season. And I think Adingra's a better player than March. And my dad's going to kill me for saying that because I slated March a few years ago and then he's obviously come in and done really well. But Adingra is, the potential of him is so high. And I think he's a great pick at 5 million and no one's going to get him. But
okay.
Zane doesn't. No. He says he doesn't trust me waffling about Brighton. Well, I called Matoma last year. Thank you very much.
I was just about to say that. You called Matoma before the World Cup and
said
keep an eye on him, yeah.
Got to give him
thanks,
that.
Andy. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it. No worries. You've said some nice things about me tonight, so I'm reciprocating.
Return of the favour. A few people mentioning Fatty. He's just not an option for us at the moment. I haven't been that impressed with him in the 10-ish striker type role, and he's not going to oust Matoma, so he's a bit of a no-go. Forwards. What do you reckon of Núñez? Because Klopp, if you've got him, you're probably worried about this week, right? Because he's obviously been off in South America, but Klopp was quite positive, I thought, on the South Americans. Private jets and things, saying they're in a better place than they normally are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Gakpo's not far off and Jota's ready. Sorry, Andy, you go.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, it's like if you still went Haaland or you still have Haaland, it just seems like a gamble going for Núñez over someone like a Watkins, Alvarez, whoever it is. Like it just doesn't seem as much of a nailed on player to start. The thing is, and we said about this even before the season started, his stats are always up there, and he's the only player that seems to ever match Haaland in terms of output, in terms of his underlying stats. But it's just you need that run of fixtures, and they're probably the team that has the most options in terms of all those attacking positions. So even if you get 2 games out of him, the third game will probably be benched, and it's just tough to spend that money on him then. But the underlines are there, and if you can get him for a good run, then yeah, I get it. But it's tough to pick him over.
It does feel like we've said for 2 seasons though he's going to hit a big haul. The big haul hasn't come yet, has it? He hasn't ever hit a 20-pointer or anything close to that.
No, not really. I mean, it's he had the brace at Newcastle, didn't he, this season? But you wouldn't, if you had him, you wouldn't buy him for that fixture though, Newcastle away, would you? So that really just teased us. The fixtures are good, but Jota is fit and Klopp loves Jota. Gakpo is probably 1 week away. So you're just into that lottery again. And again, it's another wildcard darling, isn't it? It's another player who's... Those who didn't keep Haaland definitely probably went Darwin and Watkins, right? Yeah. And it feels exciting, but actually I don't know if I'd want to do it, because I think that, like Andy says, if you got Haaland, you go Watkins, or you keep with Alvarez. If you haven't got Haaland, I guess you're almost not obliged to go Darwin, but a lot did. And I think they're putting a lot of faith in the fact that Jota and Gakpo aren't going to get minutes and starts.
Yeah,
I feel like he's the perfect 1 week play, like in quite a few weeks. But to try and hold him and know that he's going to play, and it just seems such a tough buy, especially if you are like wildcarding. Like straight away you're thinking, God, next week I might have to sell him. I don't know. It's really tough. The fixtures are there, so if you think that he gets 3 fixtures in the next 4, I'd say that's probably quite good. But I don't know. He's not my kind of pick. He's not the kind of one I go for if I'm wondering whether he's going to play. If he's completely nailed, then yes. But I don't think anybody can call that personally.
I mean, when you look at the top 3, none of those for me are viable yet because of the start.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Núñez, Wilson, and Isak.
Núñez, Wilson, Isak. Yeah.
Isak's out this week, isn't he?
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Isak is out of the Palace game, so.
So when you look at it, you wouldn't go Núñez, can't risk Wilson and Isak. You're not going to go Calvert-Lewin. Who's next? Oh, Haaland.
Then it's Haaland, 0.86. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, Ferguson's in 7th. It's been I mean, he's 18 years old, and it's a lot of pressure on him, leading the line for a Premier League, top 6-ish side. He hasn't played particularly well over the last few weeks. He's had a bit of an injury as well. But it is a really good run of fixtures, and he's still our most. I think he's still our most explosive player on his day. 0.74 XG non-penalty per 90. It's just there's just a bit of concern with the kind of the form and the pressure, and with Welbeck and Pedro there too.
Yeah, I think I'd just go Pedro over the two of them, just because he's on pens. Yeah, just because you're so attacking, and even if Pedro's benched, the chances of him coming on in the last 30 minutes and getting a penalty
he's been our best player over the last few weeks as well, Pedro.
Yeah, exactly. So
really impressed.
I think I would go Pedro 5.3 as well. But that's perfect for a third striker potentially. So I think I'd still go Pedro over Ferguson, although I do love Ferguson. I think he's a great player, but I think Pedro would be my pick out of the two of them still.
So top three strikers for me are still Haaland, Watkins, Alvarez, I would say.
Are you getting Watkins, Mark, for 10?
No, probably not.
No,
not unless
no
I sell
Saka,
Haaland.
no Watkins. Woo. Can live dangerously.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I want to see what the City pair look like this week. City go to United, don't they, in game week 10, and obviously it could be an option to go Watkins against Luton and sell Haaland, but I don't know if I'd want to do it. I mean, that's two transfers if you want Haaland back for Bournemouth at home, which surely you do, and Haaland could do damage at Old Trafford, couldn't he? So I think I'm comfortable going. I'm not going against the crowd by not getting Watkins, but it almost does feel like that if you look on the Twitter bubble, because I think obviously Watkins is a
It terrifies me not having him for that game.
He terrifies you.
He does.
Watkins terrifies
I know.
you.
Well, it's Luton, isn't it? It's Luton at home.
Yeah,
the
I know.
striker
But
against Luton at home in 40% of teams.
I do think that we've in our minds converted Watkins to an elite level striker very, very quickly. When actually last season he was incredibly frustrating. And
he's blanked once all season.
Yeah, he's been getting assists. He's been getting assists for sure, and he's been ticking away. But I'll talk about it now. The recency bias of that haul against Brighton has made people go, I can afford to sell Haaland and go Watkins and Alvarez and Watkins and Nunes. And I can't help but think that massive haul has factored into that. I mean, people will say, oh no, I'm aware of the recency bias and that's not a factor. I don't think that's the norm for Watkins. He's in great form, but I still think he's a striker who does miss opportunities, misses chances. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's gone up a level this year. Maybe the data isn't, it is true, and he's stepped up and he's now a much improved finisher. But I'm still not sure that, I'd be confident going with him week in, week out instead of having Haaland.
You'd still prefer Alvarez. Alvarez is in 13th, 0.52. If you could make the swap for free to Watkins, you wouldn't do it.
Well, it's more money. He's more expensive, isn't he?
Yeah.
And don't forget, I got Alvarez for a lot cheaper than he is now as well. So,
but is that an issue? Because if Watkins is the better pick over Alvarez, and you don't want to do it because of the money, is that limiting your flexibility with that spot?
Well, how much is he better? Is he better by 1.5 million?
I'm asking you. Turn it around to me.
He is. Alvarez is playing for Man City, taking all their set pieces and playing up front with the best striker in possibly modern football. So, no, I don't think he is 1.5 worse than Watkins.
Andy,
myself.
Who'd you pick? You haven't got Alvarez, right? You've got Watkins and no Alvarez.
I've got Watkins,
yeah.
I think for those next four fixtures... West Ham at home, Luton at home, Fulham at home in those as well, and they're so much better at home than they are away. I think it's hard to not go with them. The only thing I will say is, if I didn't own Watkins, I don't think I'd be as terrified to not own him as you are, just because he's not on penalties. I feel like that is a bit of a thing for him. But he can do it. He can do what he did the other day, but he's not doing it with lots of XG, if that makes sense. He's not scoring goals that you'd be thinking, oh my. He's not like a Harding putting up 3 XG. I think it was like 0.8 XG when he scored 3 goals and got the assist. So I think I just think he's a fine pick. I don't think he's somebody that's like essential moving forward, if that makes sense. But I think he's a fine pick. Couple of weeks ago, I thought Diaby might be able to match him, but I'm starting to waver on that a little bit. I feel like Diaby's a fine pick because he's cheaper, but I think if I had to pick either or and price didn't matter, I'd pick Watkins every time.
I just don't agree with the statement that I'm terrified by Ollie Watkins. I think that is just purely off the basis of the haul against Brighton. Of course, if he does that again and he starts getting double figures with regularity, How many? I think last season he didn't get very many double digits, did he at all? And this is what I mean. It's like there just seems this complete transformation in our perception of what Watkins is now, to the point where you're saying you're terrified of him.
I'm terrified of him for a few reasons. One, that he's 32% owned, and that is a massive rank killer if he does anything these days.
Andy, here we go.
It's one reason.
Have we got we should get a klaxon every time someone mentions an EO.
I'm scared of him because
real life?
Villa have had 3 home games this season. They scored 4 against Everton, 3 against Palace, who are supposedly a good defensive side, and 6 against us. At Brighton, and they've got West Ham, who are 18th on the team data defence, and Fulham, who are 14th, but look like they could concede 5 goals every game that I've seen them play this year. And that's not even including Luton as well, who they should absolutely destroy. I've only got Diaby as cover, and his stats don't seem that great either.
So Watkins in 36 starts got 3 double digits. Alvarez got 4 double digits in 14 starts. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we've gone. That was last season. I just think the Brighton haul has just completely changed our perception. Suddenly, Watkins is a heavy hitter who hits big hauls.
Yeah, but if you've got a forward who's only blanked in 1 game out of 8, and then he's playing Fulham, West Ham, and Luton.
You're talking about consistency there. You're talking about that's different to someone who terrifies you. I'm not terrified of a consistent point score. I'm terrified of someone who gets 15 points on a regular basis, like Harry Kane. Watkins isn't that player, I don't think. He wasn't last season, and he's done it once this season against Brighton, who completely capitulated. So I just think let's just calm our perception of what
sleepless
Watkins
nights. All I see is Ollie Watkins' shadow, like above my bed, with like a knife, like ready to pounce.
No, that's me, Az.
Yeah, I should have given you that key.
No, I know.
Yeah. Great. Supero says I smell a charity bet brewing here. Oh, last time we had a charity bet, I don't think you paid, did you, Mark?
How dare you? I
Poor
did in
charity.
the
That
end.
sounds like Mark.
What was the charity? Your charity, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
how dare you? My reputation is tarnished.
I'm sure you did. You just take bloody ages to do it.
Yeah, I do take my
There's a lot of orange on these charts, Mark, from FPL_radar.
Yeah, I love FPL Radar. He does a lot of good work in the community. He throws these out, and I just like throwing them in. I think we've kind of discussed this already about United going to Sheffield United. What he does here, he compares the attacks versus the defence, and it allows you to pick out the attacks to side with. And you talk about Watkins, Villa, West Ham. That's second in this table, the top table, but United at Sheffield United is the most profitable fixture in terms of attack versus weak defence. It's interesting, isn't it? There are still people carrying Rashford and Bruno into this game week. Those who probably didn't wildcard, who went with them initially, because you can't sell for Sheffield United away. Surely there's got to be a return.
Fernandes is the one here, isn't he? You look at that opponent.
They're top there, aren't they?
Yeah. It's nuts. But look at Haaland. That kind of cements Haaland as the best captain, right? Because he's got the strongest player XG per 90, and the opponent with a long bar.
Just ahead of the terrifying Ollie Watkins in fourth there.
I'm scared of him this week, but let alone Luton at home. Oh, yeah. Awful.
No, I would feel for those who haven't wildcarded and are holding Rashford and Bruno if they don't get anything out of them at Sheffield United. So I'm expecting them to make up some ground, because you'd think that there's double figures for at least one of them too, wouldn't you, at Sheffield United? They've got so many injuries as well, haven't they?
2 from Tim.
So many injuries.
Tim WD, Borge being Bruno's middle name.
Yeah.
I did not know that. You know that, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interested, by the way, that Matty Cash is on this table as well.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Matty Cash, was he sixth at this table amongst all these midfielders?
His non-penalty XG is better than Diaby's, isn't it?
Captain option versus Luton.
Scoutcast.
Matty Cash
versus
captain.
Luton.
Yeah.
No, maybe not so much.
Great. Anything else to add on this one, Mark?
No, it's just the first 4 fixtures. Just the fact that the fixtures this week are just incredible for us, aren't they? I think a lot of people have got a lot of players at home, and a lot of our players have got really strong fixtures. So I'm expecting big scores this week, because I think that most teams will have at least a couple of players with double figures. Looking at the data and the kindness of the fixture.
Yeah.
But what happens after an international break normally?
Yeah, well, it all goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly,
Carnage.
yeah. And it all's low scoring, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right, let's take a look at some predictions. Then, thanks for sending me these. Liverpool-Everton to start with, the Merseyside derby. We've all gone for a Liverpool win here. Andy and I both with a 2-0. Mark, you've given Everton a goal in a 3-1. If we're all backing 2 or more goals, Salah captain, is he an option?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's I think he's second best option this week, to be perfectly honest.
Yep. Mark, tempted at all?
Yeah, very. I mean, we'll get to captains in a bit, but as I said, the models are saying go Salah just ahead of Haaland, so they clearly think that it's just. I don't want to go all in on the 12:30. I mean, Luke's going in with 3 Liverpool players and Salah captain.
Oh God, I know, I hate that. I was listening
Trent
to that.
Darwin,
I was
Salah
like,
and
oh, that
Salah
sounds
captain.
awful.
I think he should do all right out of that. He should start. He should start very strong. It's hard to say, isn't it? A Merseyside derby. Klopp's expecting a difficult game. Everton have been very good in attack, perhaps not so convincing at the back. I think they've got a goal in them because of that, but I just don't see them keeping Liverpool. There's so much firepower in that Liverpool team. I think they win this comfortably myself.
You're interested in giving them a goal, though, if you're thinking of bringing Tsimikas. Yeah, you think Everton are going to score.
Yeah.
Bournemouth Wolves, we've all gone different here. I've gone for a Bournemouth win. Mark, you've gone for a Wolves win. And Andy, you've gone for a real bore 0-0.
I genuinely think, I told you, like, I had ticket.
Because you turned down a ticket.
Yeah,
exactly. I was offered to go here, and I just.
Well, now you've turned it down.
Just,
it's going to be like a 4-0, isn't it? That's
I
that normally works.
Genuinely, yeah. All the times I've been to Bournemouth, the games have not been that great, and I think I can just see this being 0-0. I can see this being a lack of quality in terms of attacking. I can just see it being a really non-factor game, really. So yeah, I've gone 0-0 for this one.
The Mark Lawrence predictions.
Yeah, he's even worse than Mark. Have you not? Mark Lawrence is even more boring than Mark Lawrenson. So there you go.
Oh, Mark Lawrence. I thought it was a typo. Is Lawrenson not doing them anymore?
No, he is. No, he's not. Chris Sutton does them now, doesn't he?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Sutton's a wild card. He could be anything.
Chris Sutton said 6-0 for which game was it? Man City Brighton. He's gone 6-0. I think
6-0. We're not going to lose 6-0 to Man City. No way. We'll give him a game. We'll come to that in a minute. Brentford Burnley. We've all gone different here as well. Actually, I've gone for a Brentford comfortable win. Mark, you've gone for a draw. Oh no,
I like Burnley.
Sorry, Andy, you've gone for a Brentford win as well. 1-0.
Yeah.
I like Burnley, and I'm not keen on Brentford. I still don't think they're as good as. I mean, they started the season well, but I think what I saw at the City Ground, they didn't beat us even with 10 men. Didn't break us down. They don't have a cutting edge for me. And I think Burnley play some good stuff and will nick a goal. So I've gone 1-1.
Steve M says, let's start wrapping this up. We're near the 2-hour mark, Steve.
Outrageous.
Got loads of time. Strap yourself in.
What are you talking about? Midnight finish, surely. Let's go all night, says Nigel.
There we go.
It's half term this week. Half term this
Yeah,
week.
exactly. Mr. Botwell's got plenty of time, so it's all good.
Man City Brighton. It should be. I'm gutted this game isn't on live. I'm sure some people will be watching it through nefarious means, but it won't be me, of course, or anyone on this stream. But I've gone for a 3-2 Man City. I think I was tempted to put 2-2, but I have gone for a. I think our defensive problems will cost us in the end. Mark, you've gone for a more comfortable 3-1, and you've gone for a very comfortable 4-1.
I have. I think I'm going full narrative FC, and I think this is where Haaland's sellers are going to be like, "What have we done?" And I think I
hope so, and yet I don't hope so.
Yeah. I just think they will. I think everything I've seen from Brighton, especially like playing away from her, I just think you're just going to keep playing in their hands all game, and they're just going to destroy you.
De Zerbi will just keep going as well. That's the thing. It's like he did at Villa. That's the worry. He's a bit like Ralph. Like it's going wrong, but he'll just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you say that though, but I mean, with the team we put out against Liverpool was incredibly attacking, and I saw it and thought, oh my god, we're going to get absolutely pummeled. But there's work rate and there's energy and there's press.
But Liverpool didn't play well, I would say.
Yeah, but that's not just because they didn't play well. That's because we were putting them under a lot of pressure, like we do a lot of teams. The way to play against Man City isn't to sit back all the time. It's to press them and to try and get something. And we know they've got vulnerabilities when you can get one-on-one with Ederson. There's definitely goals in this game. I just think that we've got issues making mistakes at the back, and I think that's ultimately what's going to cost us. I don't think we get thrashed though.
Okay.
But I think
Chris Sutton says
Haaland as well. Yeah, Chris Haaland does. Yeah, and honestly, Haaland terrified. Look, Haaland up against Dunk or Webster
He
or
terrifies
Igor.
you as well. How do you sleep at night?
I don't.
You're just terrified of everything.
I don't, Mark.
Why do you play this game as?
I don't know, Andy. I've asked myself that question for years.
Oh dear.
Well, Watkins.
Next up,
As he's
Morgan
just a
Gibbs
nervous
White, he
wreck, Andy.
terrifies me.
Yeah.
Watkins terrifies me from an FPL perspective. Haaland terrifies me from a football perspective because
Cameron Archer at 8 o'clock terrifies me, doesn't it?
I have seen Haaland against Dunk. That's why he terrifies me.
Oh, have you?
Because I saw it last year and he absolutely dominated him. I mean, he dominated everyone, but yeah. As going as Ollie Watkins for Halloween. I have to Supero, you have been Supero in this chat today. Absolute bangers. From
Really
you.
good.
Newcastle Palace, I've gone for a 1-0, and you've gone for a 3-0, Mark a 2-0. Oh, Trippier's going to hurt. Another one to scare me.
No one can see Palace scoring, can they? Because
No.
they've got so many injuries, no cutting edge really. I mean, Marteta, no, surely not. I just can't see him scoring against one of the best defences in the league, and it'll be one-way traffic. So,
Yeah. The only thing I will say, I feel a little bit like I maybe went overboard with 3-0 with Isak and Wilson maybe not playing. That's the only thing.
Is Wilson a doubt as well? I thought it was just Isak.
I think it was, wasn't he?
We'll see.
Or is Wilson playing? I could be wrong there. But
No, I'm not sure. I just know that Isak was out. I'm not sure about.
No.
About
I'm
Wilson.
sure the chat will correct me if I'm wrong.
Gordon up front, Andy. If they're both out. Ooh.
Wilson's not flagged, so
I
he's
think
all right.
Wilson. I think Wilson's fine.
And Gordon on pens.
And they still get a red card.
Yeah.
Forest Luton. You'll be there, Mark. You've gone for a comfortable 2-0. I've gone for 2-0. Andy won.
we're playing different now. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried because we're trying to set into this new style where we're getting the ball and passing it, which we'll see. We'll see if that works for us. But
It's nice to see Cooper going back to what he wants to do, right? Like what he did in the Championship, being on the front foot. Whereas last year he adapted well, but now he seems to have the players to change it a bit.
And he's got Murillo in to break the lines from defence, which is playing a ball-playing centre-back is not what we've seen in previous seasons with the likes of McKenna and Cook starting for us.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's I think we're going to win, but Luton will be a worry from set pieces, that's for sure.
Yep.
So,
Then a great game, should be Chelsea Arsenal. Chelsea finding a bit of form. Finally, Arsenal finally beating the master. The apprentice beats the master for the first time. Has Arteta been Pep before? Not sure he has. Come close a few times, but not ever managed it.
No, he beat him recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
He beat him in the home game. That was it.
Yep.
Yeah, but
I've gone for a 1-0 Arsenal. I think they'll just see it out. I think Chelsea will. They're still struggling a bit in attack, aren't they? Even though the defence is looking quite good. You've gone for a 2-1, and Andy's gone for a 0-0.
yeah, it's a very difficult one to call this in terms of will Chelsea put up a fight. Arsenal, for me, haven't found that attacking fluidity they saw last season. I do fancy. I mean, off the back of the Burnley game, I think the international break came at the wrong time for them. Jackson scored the goal at Burnley. He looked all right when he came on. He's going to start because Bowyer's out. Sterling obviously had a really strong game. Would he take that form into the Arsenal game, and will they get any joy out of him? I've got a feeling Chelsea will go one up, and then Arsenal will peg them back. Is the narrative I'm going for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tape says the Community Shield, Arsenal beat us. That doesn't count. They drew that game and then won on penalties. That's not the same as winning. Sheffield United and Manchester United. We've all gone for a Manchester United win. If Sheffield United get a result in this, Ten Hag is surely in big trouble, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone very conservative with 1-0 because United aren't playing well, and I think Sheffield United will obviously sit back.
I think they'll score early.
Do you? You think they'll score?
Be another McTominay salvage job.
It's not going to be an attractive game, and if I was giving out a garden centre game and I could find a garden centre open,
well, it's funny you should say that, Mark.
Then
Because...
it would be that one. There it is. Yeah, I mean. That is where, if I had to buy some bricks for the barbecue, I would be going shopping at 8 o'clock.
I am one ahead of you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One game on Sunday. I'm going to have multiple assets in this.
One game on Sunday.
The scheduling this year is weird, isn't it? This is the second time I think this has happened. Villa West Ham. I'll be going in with four players, I think, in this one. I've gone for 2-1 Villa. I think the home form will see him through. And he's gone for 3-2. You've gone for a draw. Hammers Point.
Yeah, I think Villa have shown some fragility at the back. I think West Ham have got set pieces and will be a threat from those. Ward-Prowse, as we've seen. I want to say that Ward-Prowse has got a good record at Villa Park. I don't know why. I just see him in for Southampton causing them problems there. Set plays and free. I think he got a free kick there once. He's probably done that at most grounds, but I just see Ward-Prowse, his set plays causing them issues. I think West Ham will nick a point. Yeah. Lots of goals in this game, though. Look at it. Yeah.
I know.
So at least we're not down the garden centre for that one on a Sunday. So
just to explain, because we have got nearly 2,000 people watching, they might not be familiar with the garden centre. There it is again. The garden centre game is Mark's little catchphrase he's been doing for a few years, basically saying if you're gonna, there's got to spend some family time. You've got to be out, probably at a garden centre. But you don't want to miss the football. You time it strategically around the most boring game of the week that's shown on TV.
The game you want to miss, yeah.
The game you want to miss, and that this week is Sheffield United and Manchester United. Do you agree with that, Andy?
Yeah, probably. Sorry, by the way. I literally, my wife's out and I got the two kids asleep, and I turned around and the doorway was open, and my boy was just
Ollie Watkins?
looking at me. Yeah, that was Ollie Watkins. Honestly, my heart went. Yeah, I was terrified of Ollie Watkins. Yeah.
Was it Ollie Watkins? That's a good one.
It's Cameron Archer.
Yeah. Oh, great shout from Greg Frost. The garden centre icon reminds me of the Herb from Resident Evil. That is a great shout. Yeah, I love that.
Oh, a bit of gamers geek. Brilliant.
Can we stop talking about horror, please? It's definitely not sleeping tonight. Spurs Fulham, interesting one on the Monday night. I'm sure some people will be captaining Son or Maddison just because it's the final game. I've gone for a 2-1, bit of a nervy one. You've both gone for a much more comfortable Spurs win. Mark 4-1. Andy 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham are playing Bassi at the back, aren't they? It might as well be Shirley as well. I've seen him play and he's been very dodgy.
And do you have that one written down?
No, I didn't, but I think that Diop's been terrible, hasn't he? I mean, Diop's been awful recently. That's how bad Bassi is, basically. Diop's been keeping him out. I think if Son is fit, and we hope he will be, fully fit, I think he could have a field day. So it's really close between Salah, Haaland and Son this week, I think.
Did you notice Mark took the post-it note down from the side of his computer screen with Shirley Bassey written on it? He was like, done that one.
Tick.
So, I mean, if you think it's going to be like that, though, is there no temptation for a Son or Maddison captain this week? There is.
Yeah, there is. I guess I don't like waiting until Monday. I don't like playing the captain in the 12:30. Don't like waiting until Monday for the captain.
Do you not? You don't like a Monday captain?
No. I don't know. I think that the Son fitness issue is the worry. Is it the minutes? Will he get just 70 minutes? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Yeah. Especially when you've got Salah and Haaland who are going to play the majority of the minutes. It's just so I'm just more than happy owning Son and Maddison in this fixture. Knowing that I don't have to captain them, but I at least get their points. I think that's fine. Yep.
Well, let's talk about captains next, because it is an interesting week for it. These are the players in the conversation. Núñez, if you want a bit of a left field punt again, he's the top of the XGI non-punt over 90. Then we've got the three main ones I think this week: Haaland, Salah, and Son. Looking at their data, 0.86 for Haaland, 0.74 for Salah, 0.71 for Son. All great options. Maddison as well, 0.7, not far off. We picked Trippier, Andy, in our little greyhead game where we try and pick the high scorers. Bit of a left field one, but I think the 9 points. Honestly, I just think he gets 9 as a minimum. Yeah. Horrible. What do you think about this then? Then Mark, are you kind of wavering, or are you pretty set on Haaland?
I'm set on Haaland. I think because we've seen managers who have wildcarded, people like Seb and Luke, who are obviously top quality managers, going without Haaland. It almost reinforces me and thinks, well, yeah, I'll not only keep Haaland, I'll captain him in this game. Luke said it last week. This is the game week that he fears the most, not having Haaland, and I think that tells the story, doesn't it?
It's a red fixture on the ticker, but it's definitely not a red fixture in terms of
not anymore,
defence.
No, that's right. I mean, Brighton are a good side, but I don't think defensively they're a good side this season, and the way that they'll approach this game will probably play into City's hands as well. It could be that other players get the returns. Foden and Alvarez could be in the mix, and Haaland could just come out with an assist, so people could get away with it. I would be surprised if he doesn't score, and I probably can say the same about Salah against Everton and Son against Fulham. But I think, as past experience show, when you don't captain Haaland at home in a fixture that's, a good one, you're asking for trouble. So I'm going to stick with him.
Andy, any temptation?
No, it was literally as soon as I set my bus team, it was like, Haaland captain. It was absolutely fine with that. I think a few people could go with Salah because obviously he's just got that brace as well. And I feel like people would be going, oh, no, you need to be going Salah now. But I feel like Haaland's the pick.
I hate captaining a player against my own team, but I just think Haaland's going to dominate our centre-backs. And, we're making problems at the back, and it is the pain if they do manage to win. The team data, defence, this is interesting, Mark. This is supposed to be captain's data too. This is
no, it's not what you expected, is it? I wanted to throw this in to look at the Son, Salah, Haaland situation over the game weeks to come, because I wanted just a bit more data to look at why people are losing Haaland. Because it's like you said, game week 10 going Watkins, maybe losing Haaland for that game, but then you've got Bournemouth to come as well. City's fixtures are testing, there's no doubt. As you can see here, they don't have too many really strong fixtures, and there's no doubt as well, if you've got Salah and Son, you've got really strong alternatives for the captaincy. People are talking about Saka as well in game week 12. So I just want to show this because it does back up what Luke was saying, in that the fact that you've got good captain options does give you this window of opportunity to bet against Haaland and to spread the money. There's no question about it. But I think, as we've said earlier, we've had one blow for that already, in the fact that Tsimikas has come along to slightly undermine the Trent pick, I would say, because obviously, someone like me can get in Tsimikas and get some attacking returns and some of the Liverpool clean sheets if they do arrive. So it means that those who have got Trent in are relying on him delivering those attacking returns and bonus, which he hasn't to this point done. So, I think that has been a slight blow to the kind of let's spread the money and not have Haaland. But there's no question for me that you've got your captaincy sewn up with Salah and Son if you don't have him. And it shows that. And Watkins has got great fixtures too. And what I was saying about the recency bias on Watkins, if you have a look, yes, he has been consistent. He's blanked in only one game, but at 23 points in game week 7, I think he's also being a factor in people feeling secure about losing Haaland, in that I think we've kind of blown Watkins up to be this striker who can return every week and get big scores, and that, I don't know if that is the case. It has been in that game week, but it wasn't last season, and it hasn't been to that point this season. So I don't know. A lot depends on how Watkins goes and how Nunes goes and how Trent goes, whether the gamble to go without Haaland comes in or not. Because they're the three players that wildcarders have gone with, that even us sitting here now would say, I'm not absolutely sure all those three players, apart from Watkins, are absolutely essential picks by any means.
I think I'll still captain Haaland in the next 3. Brighton at home, Man United and Bournemouth. Andy, do you reckon you'll play around with the captaincy at all over those 3?
Yeah.
Are you going to captain Haaland against United?
No, I think I'll be on Salah. I think it would be Haaland, Salah. Game week 13 is the trickiest one, but it's whether I own Saka by that point, because is it Saka? There's someone that's got a nice fixture, but I can't remember who it is. Game week 13 is definitely the trickiest one.
It is
so
tricky.
Probably, because I could potentially be without Spurs assets by then. So Villa at home, could be the fixture there, but I think that's a tricky one. It's because obviously Liverpool and City play against each other. So it's who I go with in 13, but it's pretty sure it's going to be Haaland, Salah. The biggest thing for me, and again we've mentioned this about Spurs already tonight, I don't see myself captaining Son until game week 13. I don't think.
No, exactly. That's why I think he's potentially dispensable for a Saka or a Martinelli.
Yeah. And again, Saka is actually captainable in 2 of these fixtures if he's back as what we're thinking. Because obviously you've got Sheffield United at home, Burnley at home. I think they're
I want an Arsenal mid for Sheffield United at home and Burnley at home. They've got 4-5-0 on both of them written on it, I think.
Saka, as you see in the radar FPL radar chart below, has been very consistent without being super explosive. He's got the 1 double figure return, or 2. He's got 10 and a 13. So he's not someone. Son, I think, as we've seen already, can get a 20-pointer. Saka, perhaps you don't fear as much. I wouldn't put him in the terrifying bracket, should we say? But yeah, there's no question the fixtures are so strong for him. I think this week is so crucial to what we do in that game week 10 as to how Son looks and how Saka looks in terms of fitness and minutes. Because if Son gets like 85 minutes and gets a couple of goals against Fulham, I don't know if I can go Son to Saka. I really don't. I know I shouldn't. Output shouldn't affect my decision, but it's the minutes and the sharpness. Yeah.
We also mentioned it last week, and I think I am maybe a little bit hotter on this than you are, Mark. In terms of, I do think getting a Brighton player in from game week 10 onwards needs to be such a high priority because their
it's which one?
Just ridiculous.
Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Forest. It's Matoma. It's Sterling to Matoma.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, how much do you prioritise? Like, for instance, look at those Spurs fixtures. They're all blue on the ticker there. But would you prioritise getting in? So would you sell, for instance, Maddison to Matoma?
No way.
No.
Not a chance. I don't think we have a player that's going to play 4 out of 4 games. Matoma will be benched in one of those games. For sure. Yeah. We're doing crap in Europe as well. Like it's not like we're comfortably sailing through that group. We've lost one and drawn one.
True.
We need to start getting some points. We've got a Dingra who can play on the left or the right. We've got Fatty who's going to take some minutes as well. And he's not going to play on the right, so he's either going to play left or at 10. He's been rubbish at 10 so far, so I can't see that happening. I don't know. I think Matoma's much more of a risk than people maybe think. One of them's going to go off over that run, but I just don't know who it's going to be.
Wow, that's a pretty short bet given the fixtures. A Brighton player will go off, but you're right. There's about 7. It could even.
I know, it's
could
ridiculous.
Be Ferguson, could be. Yeah,
I know, it's absolutely ridiculous. FPL ticket. I like the chat. Lukewarm to the stream. Cheers, mate. But he's going to hit the like anyway. And that's the main thing.
Come for the stream, stay for the chat.
Yeah, that's it. M. Darrowell, great show. Hit the likes. Yeah, do give us a like. I'm not sure if we hit 2,000. We were pretty close at one point, but 2,000 watching is amazing. So really, really appreciate it. Yeah, do make sure you're liked and subscribed to the channel. And do have to Scout as well. You can watch more of Andy if you're into that kind of thing. If you want to get into FPL mode, you can watch you on the Scoutcast.
I was you've ruined it. I was going to ask you if you slowly feeling yourself entering FPL mode but now you've completely.
I don't like the slowly with that.
Mark goes straight in as like
I know.
Flirting.
I know. There's no time for subtlety at this time of night. Is there?
It's true.
I don't even want to carry this conversation on, so we're going to move swiftly on to the final section. It's teams, looking kind of how it's set up. This is me. Turner in goal. I think it's probably quite similar to a lot of people. Turner in goal with Ogie, Cash, Botman, Salah, Son, Maddison, Diaby, Ward-Prowse, Haaland captain and Alvarez. Nothing too exciting. It's either going to be Botman, I think, to Gabriel or Tsimikas. Not sure which one.
Tsimikas is the sexy.
Tsimikas is sexy.
I do that. 100%.
Going up in price Saturday night. You can get in early on the rise.
I just think Gabriel is a good pick. Like there's no, if you've got Gabriel in your team, you're going to be pretty happy playing him.
You're not worried though. You're not worried that Partey's back and Arteta could play silly buggers again.
No, Gabriel's been so good since he's come
Everybody
in.
said that before the season started. Like Gabriel's nailed.
Absolutely, and 4-7. I see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you.
There's no way Arteta goes back to that mad Partey right back experiment. I think it was the Saudi window, wasn't it? I think there was rumours around Gabriel and his head probably wasn't in the right place, and that's all sorted now. So I mean, George asked why not Colwell out. The plan was to do Colwell out, but I just like you said, Mark. I just don't want to keep a potentially injured player in my team. I've been there already this season, and you just never find a way out.
Why would you hold Colwell when the fixtures are terrible? I think he's right. I think you do go Colwell.
Well, at least he plays, and Chelsea's defence is pretty good.
Fixtures are bad. I don't know how long Botman is out for. I mean, you've held him through the break and you've taken a drop already, haven't you? So
no,
I guess
I got him at 4-6.
Oh, right, okay. All right.
Chelsea fixtures are horrendous to like 16.
Oh, no, I have taken a drop because he went to 4-8, didn't he?
Yeah,
I've taken a drop.
I'd do Colwell to Tsimikas. I think he's right. So, but anyway.
Colwell to Tsimikas could potentially leave me with 9 men, 10 men. I guess we'll get news about Tsimikas, won't we? Because it's the early fixture.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be one of those two. It's probably going to be Tsimikas because I know myself and I'm pathetic, and I always go for the.
And you're pushing, you're reaching.
I don't think that's a bad pick though. I think that's a good pick.
It's definitely the more fun.
I think I'd feel more comfortable having seen him start before moving for him, but I think it's probably worth the risk. Probably given what Klopp said.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Andy's team. Andy, Turner in goal. Porro, Burn, Cash, Bowen, Maddison, Salah, Gordon, Son, Watkins, Haaland. You're looking pretty tasty this week, I think.
Yeah, quite happy with it, to be perfectly honest. I'm also quite happy with it for 10. I'm rolling because I wanted the 2 free transfers in 10 because, I mean, you know this as there's not a lot of money to move around here in terms of, every little bit of money is being spent. So, I'm quite happy with it. It's what I do in 10 that's the biggest thing I'm thinking about. I've known I've been rolling with this one for 2 weeks, so it's been pretty boring this week, to be honest. But next week's when the big decisions are going to be made. So, I'm feeling pretty happy. Like I said, I've been a Haaland captain from the very beginning. I've been quite happy with that. None of my bench players were going to come in for any of the others. If anything happens with Turner or that game, I've got Areola to come in, and I think he's an able deputy. So, I feel quite happy with all of this, to be honest. There's no one I'm really looking at and thinking, I wish I had them. I feel okay.
Yep.
Every single player at home.
No, Bowen's away.
Oh, Bowen's away. Yeah, so he is. Okay.
Yeah, but apart from that, yes.
Play Archer over Bowen. He's according to the forwards, he's the bottom of all forwards for XG.
I know, crazy. He's done a Ryan Brewster, hasn't he? He's literally done exactly the same as Brewster. Like with so much potential, he's going to be. He's going to help us
score.
No, I suppose
Archer scored. Did he get a goal and assist? Didn't he?
He did in his first week. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mark, you're different to us because you haven't wildcarded yet.
Yeah. So Turner, Burn, Cash, Trippier, Maddison, Sterling, Diaby, Salah, Son, Alvarez, Haaland.
Not that much different. To be everyone's just wildcarded into your team, haven't they? Really, apart from Sterling.
Apart from Sterling, yeah. I know. Yeah, I have got 11 at home. I don't know if that's going to help. One of them is Sterling at home to Arsenal, though, so I don't know how effective that's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
But no bench, of course. Gusto should start, so I should get an active sub for once, and Baldock's back soon. So
he's dropping tonight, I think, Baldock.
Is he? I'll take that, though, because I think anyone wildcarding is going to go to Baldock, right?
As his smile.
It's the slim victories, Andy.
Do you not think, though, at 3-8, everyone's going to go Baldock in their wildcard? I do.
No, season's ruined, mate. Yeah. Bulldock's dropping. As it's like, Baldock's dropping.
No, I keep him. I just have to hope. I mean, I've been lucky enough not to go one sub deep. Well, yeah, I just managed to go scrape through with 9 men in 1 week. So I can't go on like this, though. I've got to get an active sub.
It's funny, though, with the obsession you've had with price rises. Then you've had Mubamba and Baldock who've just absolutely tanked.
Yeah, but I'll leave them and just play with 12. Right, I think that's what I'll do. So it'll be Gusto to Tsimikas next week, I think, and I'll keep Sterling 1 more week and then move him out to a Brighton player after that.
So you're rolling this week?
No, I've already done Areola in for Pickford to catch the rise. So I did that straight away. I'm doing it just to wind up the no early transfers group. I did it straight
Making goalkeeper transfers for price rise moves. Wow.
Exactly, yeah.
So hang on. So if you get Tsimikas or if you get Bowen, that's for a -4?
Yeah, I'm not going to do it, though. I'm going to leave it this. So I'm not going to take a hit this week. I'm going to do Gusto to Tsimikas probably Saturday night.
I can't believe you haven't wildcarded and you're using transfers on a reserve goalkeeper.
Well, because if it went catastrophic, I've got the wildcard, haven't I? So, when people go, you don't take early transfers, what about the injuries? Well, if I've got 2 or 3 massive injuries, I'd wildcard.
I think you're taking the piss, to be honest, Mark.
Beginning of this stream, Mark was like, I don't know why people are calling me lucky.
I know.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, there's been some fortunates, no doubt. I was definitely lucky to go with Salah, but I don't think I'm in the top 88% of, or the top 12% of managers for luck, but there you go. Well, maybe I am.
Lovely stuff. So that's pretty much the end of the stream. Just a shout out to the BlackBox League. Do join if you haven't already. The league code's on screen, 95GXEU. Nicholas Reginson is top of that. Josh Hinchcliffe has lost his place at the top. He falls down to second, but 575 points. That is a big. You're on 500, aren't you, Mark? So
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, these guys are doing really well. That's my dog, by the way. I don't know if you heard a weird noise.
Sure, it wasn't Ollie Watkins making his way into. Has he got a key?
Akram Simba's in 3rd. Gerard McIntyre's in 4th. Joe Cassidy in 5th. Dan in 6th. Stefan Velkovic in 7th, Dan Clark in 8th, Tom Harper in 9th, and Connor Alone in 10th. Apprentice League, I'm catching Liesel, our apprentice.
She's done well.
She's having a good start. Yeah, 4-5-5. I'm in 3rd. Ryan, his wildcard's been a bit of a disaster, but he's managed to put it back a bit. But I'm ahead of him 4-3-3. And poor old Nat, still struggling down bottom of the league in 3-8-9, having a rough season so far. Very early days. And then looking at the members, hate this screen because Mark's on it in 4th. But Avi is 1st, Lawrence Shan in 2nd, Ken in 3rd, Janice in 5th, Nick Baker in 6th, Ankit in 7th, Conor Gray in 8th, Tim Kettenlock in 9th, and Pratik is in 10th. If you haven't joined the Godfather tier and you fancy it, do check out the channel. There's a link in the description. Join the WhatsApp league. You can join this league. And there's also a prediction league as well, which has been set up basically as another perk for joining, Mark, that we haven't had to do anything for. So
I know. It's like the members are creating perks for more members.
Legends.
It's working well. It's,
absolute legends.
We've got to put our fingers out and think of more things.
Yep.
Well, you are allowing one of the members to go to the
oh yeah.
Awards, of course.
So Nigel the Crab.
That's not a bad prize, is it?
Nigel the Crab, who's been in the chat all night. Do you know this, Andy?
Is Nigel going?
Yeah, Nigel the Crab, because Mark and I can't go to the FCAs.
Right.
So Nigel the Crab's going.
On our behalf.
On our behalf. To pick up the award, hopefully.
Well, we don't know. That's a bit cocky.
I said hopefully. It's fine.
Okay, right, okay.
So yeah, that's a perk we can't promise every year. But
is Nigel going to match your speech from last year?
Can
follow,
anyone match my speech after 10 Heinekens last time?
Oh God.
Dearly me.
Terrible. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Andy, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, no worries. Thank
Making
you very
this
much for
Friday
having me
night your own on the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Friday nights, and it does seem the audience is there. I've got to say, so it's fantastic to have 2,000 people tuning in for our laid back chat, which is always good on a Friday.
And no
so
tech
really
issues for once.
No tech issues.
Woo. Love it. Right. Well, good luck, everyone. Thanks all for watching. Mark and Andy, good luck next game week, and yeah, we'll be back next week, maybe in a more regular spot of BlackBox on Wednesday and late tackle on Friday.
Yeah, we'll try for that. Let's go. No COVID next week, as fully fit.
Lovely stuff. See you all later.